That's what happens when
We
you
are
have to
back
worry about a
live
channel.
with the Comics Aficionados on Thinking Critical. We had a couple of technical snafus. Eric Sparrow couldn't get his microphone to work. He is a little older. Technology scares him. And then Eric O'Sullivan, his upload speed was wrong. And we had to get that figured out. But we are here. It's the holiday season. We got through a successful Christmas. We are moving towards hopefully a successful new year and should be a whole lot of fun. Fantastic panel. Eric O'Sullivan breaking out the tracksuit. I like it.
Yes, bro. I am here. I have fallen off of Matt Fraction Hawkeye story once again.
Yeah, it does feel like I'm watching Hawkeye on Disney Plus again.
Or Conor McGregor.
Is the Hawkeye Disney Plus show a Christmas show?
Yes.
No?
Yeah.
That's gotta be. Yeah.
It's specifically centered around
Yes.
Hawkeye getting
wanted
there.
to get to his kids.
Yeah, for Christmas.
It gave us the gift of a Kate Bishop that wasn't written by Kelly Thompson, so I'll take it. It's a Christmas movie.
It was better, yeah. And we also got Echo in there. We got a big show coming out. And
you have a show coming out. I don't know if you call it.
We'll see how it goes. So, Jim, last week you ruined your football Sunday because you were trying to take the piss out of me when it came to matcha.
That's true.
And your wife made you get a Oreo McFlurry so she could put matcha powder in it.
Yeah.
And now apparently my wife is moving on. I do not get this idea of women seasoning ice cream with like freaking grass, but now she's moving on to barley. We're in the barley fad now.
Why eat ice cream then? I don't get it. It's just odd.
You know what the worst part is, Jim? She wants me to drink barley drink now.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
I can explain all of this. She wants to eat ice cream, but she wants to convince herself she's doing it healthy wise.
Yeah.
And then because she says she thinks it makes it taste good. She doesn't actually think it tastes good. She just tells you because because she's miserable, she decides you must be miserable and also eat the grass flavored fucking ice cream at the exact same time. How do you not know this?
Like you, Wes, but has moved on to just putting matcha in everything. And so, like, I end up having to get, like, all these yogurts for her. She loves all these flavored yogurts. And I said, I'm just getting you plain yogurt if you're going to put matcha in it because it shits it up anyway. And she got mad at me. So.
Well, plain yogurt tastes like really cheesy, Jim. So I could understand wanting
plain
like
yogurt. No,
raspberry.
she's putting it in like every other thing.
That's what I'm saying. I prefer the
in
raspberry.
It, though. But I like raspberry myself. She likes like crazy flavors like toasted coconut and shit like that.
Oh my goodness! And now AL's chiming in. She's like, "Barley is good for you."
Yes.
So
when it's part of beer.
Great.
So is not eating the flurry or the McFlurry. That's the first step.
Well, it's not just the McFlurry. We're on a barley kick. It's we're making drinks out of barley now.
Give her beer and say, "Hey, I covered it all."
She's not a drinker. She doesn't even like wine.
My wife whines a lot.
So, Jim, we are at the end of the year here.
Yeah.
Did you almost die this week? This has been the highlight of the entire 2023 of the Comics Aficionados.
No. Actually, I think you're a good influence on me. And I haven't been on the show in a little bit. And I actually, since then, have decided to do something called sleep. And it's worked wonders, actually. I actually feel better than I have in quite some time. I make myself go to bed at night, take some melatonin that you told me to take, and I'm in.
But you did take a spinning back fist to the face.
Well, I did. Well, that is true at a wedding. Yeah, I ended up getting punched in the face and fell back, hit my son, who then punched his other brother. And all this happened in like a 3-minute span. Not even that. It was so quick, though. I do think there was a picture taken of it because it was while we were getting the whole wedding picture taken and shit went wrong. But then we kind of gathered up. But yeah, I did take a punch to the face then. It's kind of a backhand.
It wasn't
swipe.
a punch face. It was just a
like
spinning back fist.
Yeah, it was a back fist type deal. It was pretty crazy.
Because he got more momentum. It makes it harder.
Well, because he got his ass squeezed, and then he reacted, then punched me, then hit somebody. It was pretty crazy.
Jim got hit with the Judas effect.
Yeah, that's about the closest that I got to dying recently. But that wasn't really that bad.
Well, it was a big wedding. That's a big day for the family. Congratulations. You married off 2 of your 5 sons.
That is true. And I'm hoping to marry off all of them, including my 17-year-old in 2024. And I'm sure I'll probably not get through that year. So Sayonara, suckers. This is the last end of year for me, I believe. It's just
Very nice.
Yes.
We've also got Eric, who is dressed up. Did you enjoy your Christmas this year, Eric? Oh no.
Oh no, Eric.
Was that bad?
This is better.
Yes.
Lord of the Rings cut with Hobbit meal.
Oh fuck.
Oh no.
Dude,
I think
it takes 12
I'm going to
hours.
translate that. He ate a whole.
No, he
Hobbit
watched the Lord of the
meal
Rings
deal.
extended edition for
Yes.
Christmas because his. I guess he was supposed to do something with his parents, but something came up and they ended up not being able to make it.
Ah.
But he had crab cakes as well, which would have been a fantastic Christmas dinner, I believe.
I thought he was talking about roasting a brisket for 12 hours, but okay.
That might have been too.
No, he was talking about watching Lord of the Rings extended editions. It's gotta
Oh,
be.
I thought he was saying that he went to Denny's and he demanded that they bring back their Hobbit whole breakfast.
That's
And
that might
didn't
be
leave
too.
until they
Maybe it
did.
was. He went to Denny's.
He also might have spent like 6 hours looking at Brie Larson's feet that aren't as hairy as Hobbits, but close.
Oh my
Guys,
goodness.
put your guesses as to what Sully did for his holiday down in the chat.
Sparrow. Is
Yeah.
Denny's underrated? I think Denny's is underrated. You can get the breakfast Dagwood there. You can get the Moons Over Miami. There's some good stuff at Denny's.
I have not been to Denny's. Well, I had not been to Denny's in a long time, and recently I celebrated 30 years of friendship with my friend Marie. And one of the first places that we went when we met was we went to Denny's. So we were like,
'Cause you were drunk.
You know what? On the no, we'd come out of a movie and it was really early. And
You
and
went
Denny's
to
whole
Denny's
slogan,
not drunk on purpose?
yeah, well, it was like
Yeah.
after midnight. So, you know, the
Wow.
Denny's whole slogan is, hey, we're open. And so you go to Denny's. So we were like, you know what? Let's go back to that same Denny's. It's still there. And we did. And the food sucked. So I don't know what I expected.
Did you get the Moons Over Miami? Did you get the breakfast Dagwood? What'd you do? What'd you
I
get, like the
just- I don't
Salisbury
know, I
steak
got-
or something?
No, I got some kind of breakfast plate and it was terrible. And I was like, how do you mess up breakfast?
Then
Sully
they-
would never allow that. He would never allow that on his watch.
Then did
Listen,
you
they
get
have a-
drunk and go to the Waffle House then?
They have a big breakfast menu. You can't just order anything off of Denny's. You got to go for the right menu items.
Yeah, well, this is like people telling you, oh no, at the Olive Garden, you gotta order this specific thing. No, you know what you're getting. It sucks. You're
Olive
getting
Garden's
low grade.
Good. That's a quality date restaurant.
I
For
have
what, like a 65-year-old or something like that?
No.
I might have
Jim,
to-
don't act like you've never taken your wife to Olive Garden.
Oh,
Nice
my wife,
date.
my wife loves Olive Garden.
Exactly.
Holy moly.
She puts barley on that shit.
Yeah, they don't have matcha there, but she's fine. I mean, really, if we're going to get real fancy, Red Lobster it is, but still.
Well, Red
you know.
Lobster is still quality. You get the Cheddar Bay biscuits, and
Yeah.
almost everything on that menu is going to be good.
I'll give Doc a shout out. Eaton Park is probably better than all of them.
It is.
There a lot in college, yeah.
You know what? Eaton Park has gone sadly a little downhill recently
Really?
as well. Prices up, and you know,
Quality is down.
instead of like the consistency that we've had for the last
Yeah.
35, 40 years that I've been going to Eaton Park, they're starting fucking with shit now,
Really?
and I don't like it. Stop it.
That's why you got to stick with the Arby's. They never change the menu. The items are always
Or
top
the
quality.
meat. It's still
Market
the same
fresh
meat from
sandwiches.
1985.
Yeah, it's always been
Literally
best.
the exact same meat. It just
Listen,
hasn't sold.
Whenever you
You
bring up
know.
Arby's, I feel like in the chat it's gonna be like, a wild perch appears. And he's just gonna like start disputing you right
It's
there
like
in the chat.
Beetlejuice.
No, if you like a beef aficionado and you like prime rib and ribeye or whatever, you got to go to Arby's if you want like fast food. It's like the only choice. So, Aaron, would you take a girl to Olive Garden for a date?
If I didn't want to have a second date, yeah, I absolutely would. If I was trying to self-sabotage, absolutely.
Breadsticks.
Listen, man, if you're looking for
That's
wife
it.
material, you take her to Olive Garden and you see how she handles it.
Yeah, it's like you want to find out right away if she's willing to settle. If she's willing to just
Exactly.
lower her expectations.
That's why I say a first date has to be at a bingo game, bingo parlor.
Exactly. You know, you want to test her out.
You know you got a winner if she's going to be able to sit through a whole bingo with you.
In Boston, we bring them to Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah.
Dunkin' Donuts still has good coffee, though.
Okay.
It's okay.
No, if you want an endurance test, make them sit down and watch Rebel Moon with you.
Hey.
That's a long movie, huh?
I just
That's
tried.
oof.
I just tried to watch that, and it took me 3 days to get through about 45 minutes of it.
I'll say this for it: it has many elements of a motion picture.
Yeah, it does.
It is filmed. There are people in it.
And they're
And you guys
sort
are
of
gonna get
doing stuff.
Phil Abdul's going to be in the chat, like chastising us for not talking great about that movie, even though I haven't seen it. I'll take your guys' word for it. Who else? We got Yule Carter from Fantastic Comics. We haven't seen you in a few weeks. How you been, Yule?
Oh, working hard, man. A lot of people coming in buying holiday gifts and stuff like that.
What was the big geek holiday gift this year? Was it Batman Joker, the Deadly Duo?
You know what I was selling really well, actually, was a Nice House on the Lake.
Sorry, buddy.
Well, no, it was good. I like selling it. It's easy because, you're trying to sell to people that maybe are buying things for people that already have got stuff. So you kind of have to figure out what they need, what they might have already read, or they still caught up, that type of stuff. So, so you got to kind of figure things out. So, is this a Batman situation? Is this a non-superhero situation? Have they read it all their life and you're still asking for another Batman book?
I started reading.
What am I to do?
Nice House on the Lake, and I was like, oh, it's a James Tynion situation. It's the same book again with the same characters.
Yeah.
No, that one's a fun book.
Exact same open.
That one's a really good book, and the art's good too.
Now people are trashing Olive Garden. I can't have it, Yule. Fazoli's fucking exist, all right? You don't call Olive Garden the lowest common denominator when Fazoli's is out there with worst Italian food for mass distribution. Right?
Oh, dude, we have a joint out here, a chain called Rigatoni's.
Sounds amazing.
And it's no good.
Hey,
Is it as good as Fazoli's?
Rigatoni's.
Regional chains don't count. I'm talking on a national level. It is the lowest common denominator.
All right, fine. I mean, you would say when you're talking about
the day they figure out what garlic and onion actually are, or the day that I'll call them Italian food.
Well, and this guy's saying don't take your date to Skyline Chili. I would absolutely take my wife to Skyline Chili. She would think spaghetti noodles with chili is a great idea.
Yep.
That's a very Filipino
Wait a second.
concept.
A wife date is not the same as you don't know if there's going to be a future date.
Are you saying I don't treat my wife like she's a queen?
You don't count. I'm just saying. You don't count in this equation.
He says
That's not a real date.
Jim? No. I bring the romance constantly.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you can, but you're going back home with that person. The real date.
You mean I don't want to impress her anymore?
See, I don't, so I have to keep impressing. I have no idea.
No, I think Commandant VHS wins the chat with Rebel Moons over my hammy.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That would have been a good tie-in to the movie, right?
Well, do something.
Yeah,
with
I mean, if
Superbird, because that's
could have got
favorite.
could have got a breakfast that was completely bland and took way too long to get
Bored
through.
you?
But,
No
yeah, you
personality,
absolutely
yeah.
would have.
Well, I'm glad there were sales at the shop, and it sounds like you had a nice Christmas. You're going out partying. I heard you were going to a exclusive VIP room for some type of.
Oh yeah,
music act?
totally. Not going to happen.
No.
The exclusive room is my bedroom, and I might be, falling asleep early.
So I'm not going out. Doc says he's not going out, and you're not going out. Is anyone actually going out to celebrate New Year's Eve, with the peoples?
No.
If it's Sully, wave your hand.
No.
We'll see you next year.
Do the booze and gesture, Sully, if you're going to go out drinking.
Yeah.
I don't know. So Sparrow, you're not going out.
Even in Sully's slow-mo, he's still faster than scenes in Rebel Moon.
Yeah.
But Sparrow, you're not going to the script club or nothing.
No, why would I?
I live vicariously through you. You're my single friend.
Oh
That's
man, I can't wait to vicariously stay home and relax. I'm looking forward to it. This whole week has been just a week of relaxation before I got to go back out and pound the pavement in the new year and find some work. So it's been really nice. I've taken a variety of naps. It's been great, Wes.
Now there's a good chance, Jim, you're going to go to a party with your kids, right?
Actually, they changed it. It was last night. I didn't go. I bailed.
How do you change the day of
I don't
New
know.
Year's
Well, this was actually, the problem was it was a wedding party. And a week after the wedding, that was then the day before New Year's, and they decided that was
Thus
too
New Year's
close
Eve.
and changed it. And that, it was. So They changed it to Saturday tonight at one point, and then changed it to Friday last month. This wedding I didn't find out till 4 days before. Like everything is on
That's
the
the
fly
best way.
here.
You didn't
It's
have to help
crazy.
plan it or anything. It's amazing.
Shit. They
Your
didn't even
kids did you a
introduce me
favor.
to the bride's family. I think. They
Can
were
you blame him?
embarrassed. I don't blame them. I kind of got there late too. So yeah,
My
it's
dad's
disaster.
here, but I don't want to introduce him to you.
Yeah,
Is that all right?
when you had like this pack of just, I don't even know what you'd call us, come in because of all the other kids and stuff. People just looked and shook their head. But I didn't.
So
go
you're
to the
not
party
going
last
out?
night. No.
You're also staying. We're the most boring people in the world.
Yeah.
We
I won't
should have
even
got
make it to
freaking
midnight.
Dylan on here. There's no way he's not going out. He's no party guy. Of course,
Josh
he's in
is
his
probably
20s.
hitting the
Oh,
town
you know
too,
Josh
right?
is going out. Jeez. There you go. Finally, Doc, you're still here, right, buddy?
I think I am.
You attended a Christmas. Are you excited for New Year's?
Um,
What's your big resolution?
buy more old comics.
New
There you go.
comics.
It's not really a
Old
resolution if you've been
comics.
doing it all year.
No, I said buy more old comics. Although it
So you
actually
resolved to
becomes-
do the same thing you did in 2023.
but more.
Yeah,
More
it was-
than before. Although that becomes harder because my want list continues to shrink as I buy more old comics.
You're gonna have to do something like price variance.
I am. Well, I've already started the price variance. I did the uncanny, well, I guess it was pre-uncanny X-Men price variance. I've done most of those. I'm thinking about starting a newsstand versus direct market and actually
Don't do
differentiating.
it. Don't do it.
Because
That's the
actually,
fourth one.
oddly enough, I'd actually a lot of the uncanny in like the 500s. I found out I was looking through mine the other day, and for some reason, I have a lot of the newsstands, which is really weird because they're very, very hard to find.
All right.
So, yeah.
Sounds like
Wow.
you have resolved to continue to be boring, Doc. We do have some peoples out there. Roddy Boy Comics right here in the PI. Hello, Weston aficionados. Happy New Year. Sorting comics while having you in the background. Looking forward to collect and read more comics next year. Now, that sounds like a perfect Saturday, right?
That's it.
You get your comic book talk while you're doing, hopefully you got the Mylar bags and you're bagging and boarding your stuff again. Well, thank you very much for supporting the channel. I hope you enjoy this because it is 11:20 here in the Philippines, so it's a little late here. Carrie Nerdy Girl creates Happy New Year, aficionados. If you could choose which writer you would want on your favorite title and who, why? Yeah,
I don't know.
I would want any character or series that I like. I want Robert Venditti on it because he's my favorite writer.
Just that one.
I think Robert Venditti on Nightwing would be the most amazing thing in the history of the world.
Oh, you just made me realize how much I want that.
Exactly. I think it would be perfect. What would you want, Aaron?
I don't think I can top that. Now that you've said that, I was like, Nightwing's one of my favorite characters. I mean, I guess if I could get a Nightcrawler book by Robert Venditti, that
How about a
was
Jeremy
separate
Adams
from-
Nightcrawler? He'd do some good stuff.
Yeah, he'd do some good stuff on there. That would be good. I mean, if we're talking like current writers, absolutely. I every now and then I go back and I wish that Claremont had never been forced off of X-Men by Jim Lee, so that Jim Lee could stick around for
9
6
issues.
Yeah.
9.
9. Yeah. See, Doc's got the exact number. By the way, Doc, I'm mad now because now I'm thinking to myself, you triggered my OCD, and now I'm like, do I have newsstand copies or do I have
All right, wait a minute.
copies?
Uh-huh.
I'm thinking through.
Doc, which writer would you want on your favorite title and why?
Oh, you know what? I'm going to go with something that will never happen. I wouldn't mind Warren Ellis on Uncanny. That would require Warren Ellis being allowed back into the comics industry and a Marvel Comics that actually wanted to sell Marvel Comics. Both of which are not things that are going to happen.
Very true.
Because you are the biggest Warren Ellis fan in the world. Yule, is your dream matchup? It's got to be Joe Casey. Is it
Close. You're kind of close.
Okay, what is it then? My bad.
Well, it doesn't really matter the title because whatever this person writes is probably my favorite at the time. So I'm going to say Grant Morrison. Anything he does, I'll read. And well, not everything. You know, we're talking mainstream stuff, right?
What about Grant Morrison Paste Pot Pete miniseries?
I'm down. I'll read it. No problem. Joe Casey would have been probably like a number 2 type person when it comes to like AB.
So are you reading the Grant Morrison like comics that he's developing for NBC or whatever?
I don't even know what these are.
It was announced a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
But I don't think a whole lot's come out of it.
I don't think so either. I read that book that he did, Luda. That was wild. I had Joe on the show, Corallo. And we talked about that. And
Ludicrous.
Ludicrous, yes. It was a wild book, let me tell you. And I like that when he brings that kind of style to the mainstream stuff. So that's my number 1.
All right, finally we got Jim. What's your answer to this?
I'm trying to think of what I want Teenie Howard on, but it would be Jeremy.
Teenie Howard on Wolverine, I think, would be the
that'd
best marriage of writer and character.
Yes,
Teenie Howard on
Batman, everything.
Teenie Howard on a bus out of the comic industry.
Now, I think I'd want Jeremy Adams on like an Aquaman family book or Fantastic Four at Marvel because the.
So you're like a down low Aquaman guy?
I just want an Aquaman. There hasn't been an Aquaman book, and there hasn't been a good one in a while. And I think he would do the.
It has to be the family, though.
Well,
did you like the Ram V Aquaman book?
No.
I thought it was pretty damn good.
I know you liked it. You were wrong.
Oh,
it bored me. You know, it's the Rebel Moon of comics. I thought
I would definitely read a Jeremy Adams Aquaman book. Callum says, "Did you see that recent Echo trailer with the disabled pronoun people expressing their excitement to see themselves in the character?"
Wait, there's disabled pronouns now? Were?
Oh, I don't know.
I think it's a big lump is what's being put. Yeah, just all in the same stocking. A lot of coal.
It's shooting themselves in the foot right out of the gate with the marketing. It's just going to tell everybody who's not a lunatic on Twitter that this is just more of the same. More the pander stone is in full effect.
Yeah, we shall see. I'm willing to watch Echo if Aaron does, but Aaron already did Rebel Moon, which I'm not willing to watch.
And I got rid of Disney Plus, so
yeah. So we'll see what happens there. Adam Frey challenge: name your best comics set at New Year's that aren't Batman and Jim Gordon sharing a coffee at midnight. All right, Doc, what is it?
Oh, you know what? The Authority number 12, where Jenny Sparks dies, electrocuting God, and then is immediately reborn as Jenny Quantum.
Very nice. All I can think of is the Tony Stark was at Iron Man 3, where he's at New Year's and he leaves the dickhead on the ceiling or the roof while he's banging that chick.
Oh yeah,
not bad one. I guess it's not technically a comic book. Man, so Sully, your audio is very loud now.
Is it?
Yeah, he's the background that we're picking up. It's okay. It was like when Aaron was using his tablet.
What's wrong with you, Eric?
And I can see your ring light.
I like that. It's kind of cool.
I'm experiencing definitely.
All right, Jim. Do you got any favorite comic set at New Year's?
No, I was thinking. I can't even think of any actually. So
there's probably an X-Men or something, right?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a bunch like that, but I don't think you can beat Killing.
It's gonna be a new Avengers at New Year's, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there would have to. I just can't think of any off the top of my head.
Can anybody besides Doc? Like I said, I can only think of the movie.
I'm addled.
You know what?
It's a good challenge. I'll have to go through my stuff.
Yeah.
New Year's isn't really a popular theme to do for comics. Now that
they didn't do a Y2K story?
Yeah, that was. I mean,
sure there was, but
that was a big deal.
The problem is the books that are going to come out and have those are probably going to go with Christmas and then miss out on New Year's.
I mean, you don't cut down trees for New Year's.
Christmas is a season, so it feels appropriate.
Well, maybe you do. I don't know.
Well, no. But Christmas, since it's a season, rather than, it is a specific day, but there's the Christmas season and all the
Yeah,
festivities around it. Whereas New Year's Eve is very one specific, like basically 4-hour span, like from about 9 to 1 a.m.
We've also got Jimmy from Cinema Quirks, used to be Comic Quirks. My New Year's will involve lots of alcohol and fat chicks from the local pub. I might die tonight. There are worse deaths, my friend. You do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying?
Fat bottom girls make this rockin' world go round.
Yeah.
Well, he's probably going to hit some Jaeger bombs. What's hot right now? I imagine Jaeger bombs aren't hot anymore.
I don't know. Is it White Claw
Zima?
still? Is Zima?
Zima,
That's
Porsche,
the Jolly Rancher.
I made fun of Zima.
Porn
the
star
other day.
martini.
So did I.
Maybe.
Is Zima making a big comeback?
No, I don't
Jimmy
think
there
seems like he's
was-
going to be a Zima guy.
Yeah, me and you
There-
are just old.
somebody was
there
trying to White
actually-
Claw me, and
there-
I was like, I'd rather have a Zima, is what I said.
They actually, there was a small, like very short-lived revitalization of Zima, like 2 years ago.
What was that, like a stonk situation or something?
I think so. It was strange. All of a sudden, I started seeing people talking about Zima and the Jolly Rancher thing, and like they actually like re-released it, I believe.
Damn.
Doc, let's
It
go
was
dig
like
up my
limited.
let's go dig up my time capsule and bust out
Yeah.
the Bartles and James
Get
and
that
put it.
Zima.
I know, right?
Yeah, we all in Strawberry Hills where it's at. Dylan says, it's Aaron and Wes. Just wanted to say hello to everyone and hope you all have a wonderful new year. And we all know Terry McGinnis is Batman's true successor.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
No,
What's your problem with Batman Beyond?
I don't
he's
like
Batman
it.
Beyond.
I think the music
Not bad.
sucks in it, and I don't want to read it. So there you go.
Well, it's
Wait.
written right now by Colin Kelly and Jackson Lanzig, so I do not blame you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always like Batman Beyond. When they do something that's interesting in it, I think, oh, too bad it's not Batman.
Well, I think I always think too bad this isn't made by Paul Dini because that's the only version of
Well,
Terry
and
McGinnis
then
that I will
again,
accept.
the music's just horrible in that. I can't stand it at all. And it's
All right, Yule. Who is the true successor to Batman then?
Oh, who cares? I'm just joking. I was just playing. I was giving this guy his $10 worth. That's all.
No, he wants a fucking answer. He was baiting you, man. Is it Dick Grayson? Is it Jason Todd? Is it-
Again, like going back to that Grant Morrison bit, I think Dick Grayson was the best Batman, and
his Batman and Robin was really, really good. I love
it
that.
was. Yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, it helped when Quitely's doing it, and then other all-star artists. But good times.
Are you guys saying that Jace Fox isn't even in the conversation? The book is
Dude.
called
So
I Am
Sparrow's
Batman.
going.
It's
Sparrow's
called I Am
going Jace
Canceled. I
Fox.
think.
No, I'm not going Jace Fox. I'm
That's what you said.
I'm mocking Jace Fox.
All right, Jim. Who's the true successor to Batman?
I say Dick Grayson. I love Dick Grayson, so that's it. for
You
me.
love Dick.
I do. I love Dick so much.
There is no true successor to Batman though, because every 27 years they clone his body. And
Yeah, he has to
resurrect,
clone
right?
the Genesis project, so the real answer is just Batman.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, I like Dick, but I like more cock more.
More cock is
Jimmy
good.
says, "I'm liking Saudi Ahmed's Daredevil."
Dead
That
to me.
figures. That tracks.
Dead
I mean,
to
well,
me.
Well, there has
The
to be
Aaron
one.
Cooter art's pretty good. It's not as bad as it could
It's
be.
just kind of boring.
Hey,
It
look.
hasn't hooked me yet.
The law of averages says there's at least one, and we found them.
No, I mean it's
The
not
Saladin
terrible,
book,
but like
that's good.
the
It just
idea
doesn't have a
that
hook.
Daredevil as like an exorcist just does not work.
Is that
just,
an anti-Semitic joke you making there? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Don't
Not
worry,
you.
Saladin
And plus he's also-
Ahmed will make one.
Said
He's
something about a
also
hook.
like running like a school for children. Like, what is he supposed to do? Exorcise the demon,
Yeah,
save people from the streets, or he's supposed to take care of these kids because he can't do all three at the same time, kind of thing.
exactly. I
You know
don't
what I
like
mean?
anything with exercise. And when you have the book, it just never ends up feeling like it's gripping onto one thing. It seems scattered right now. I think we have
Yes.
to get out of this first trade and get an actual, go forward with one of the things, which might be just being Daredevil. That's just me, but maybe that's what it needs.
Well, it's Saladin Ahmed, so it'll be canceled before you get any kind of.
Yeah.
Yum.
Gallup says, I predict when Kang gets recast, people will ask, so you're recasting this guy, but you couldn't recast T'Challa.
Death
They did
is
recast
pretty big
T'Challa.
deal.
He's Shuri now.
I hope so.
That's it.
I don't think they're going to recast Kang. They're not calling it Kang Dynasty anymore. They're just calling it Avengers 5. I think it's going to end up being a different villain now, which is probably smart because I didn't think Kang ever was working.
Yeah.
Even on the
No,
Disney
they
Plus
fumbled
stuff.
Kang right out of the
sucks,
gate.
man.
Yeah,
Let's be
Kang's
real.
just not that interesting to begin with.
Yeah.
And you
There's
didn't
been
set him
some
up properly.
There's
bunch of fucking Kang haters around here.
but reaching over here to get me a gun in the future, I don't care. Again, he sucks. I hate Kang.
All right.
Whenever
And then
Kang shows up, I'm like, nah, no thanks.
Jimmy wants to know, how are we feeling about Jason Aaron on Action Comics? I'm feeling sick to my stomach, Jim, because this is the reason Philip Kennedy Johnson isn't on Action, and they had to fast forward the end of his story and cut it short.
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling, Jim?
After the liking Batman Offworld so much, I'm not as upset, but I'm still upset. But Philip Kennedy Johnson's got screwed over by DC so much right now that he should just go off to Marvel and do a couple more books there. I would tell DC to go pound sand, but he still has his Jon Stewart book, the War Journal deal. But I don't know. That's not really grabbing people, I don't think. But it is a shame because they should at least give Philip Kennedy Johnson enough time to end his story.
He salvaged that stupid Grant Morrison Superman and the Authority book.
Yep, he did that.
He
He
made it
changed
good.
into some of the things from the Bad Bendis run. He actually did kind of mold some things into, better stuff.
How are the people feeling about it, Yule Carter? Obviously, you're a retailer.
I have
Did anyone
only
notice
one-
or care?
I have one person. No, people that get action, and there might be a little bit of a bump if I really push the Jason Aaron fans. But I think Jason Aaron
Holy
fans
shit.
are usually Southern Bastards and Scalped and stuff like that, more than him being on Avengers or X-Men and stuff like that. I'm looking forward to it though. Punchbot was awesome. R.I.P.
Mm-hmm.
I did like Punchbot, and I'm surprised he pulled it off.
It was.
never
I
really
love that book. It helps having Doug Monkey on artwork. So if they can match it, if they can get rid of some of those backup stories and match them up with a good illustrator, action could be really fun for a while.
I definitely agree on that one. Very nice. So let's talk about the peoples on the Patreons. Definitely want to say thank you very much to Darlis, the Crimson Cowboy himself, the protector of Rustler Ridge. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. Colin Sheehy, the Clover Knight, a protector of Greenhaven, and welcome back, Mike Daniels, Zero Nova, the man behind the people of Lumina Heights. Really appreciate everyone supporting the channel on Patreon. We're growing that in 2024. There is a link in the video description if you have not checked that out. And now we do have a topic to talk about. Aaron's muted for trash talk. All right. Very nice. We did get this article from Heidi McDonald, and now we are allowed to acknowledge, Doc, that sales are declining in 2023. Things aren't very good. And then she's retroactively giving us permission to say that sales even started declining in 2018 or 2019 because some other guy said so. But we're not allowed to actually talk about specifically why any of this happened. Isn't it kind of strange, Doc?
Oh, of course it is. I mean, look, what's the difference between, we've seen it happen in the real world, and now we're seeing it happen in comic books. What's the difference between crazy conspiracy theorist, bigots and reality? 6 months, or in the case of the comic industry, 6 years. That's when you're allowed to admit that all the people that you called every name in the fucking book were right. We were right 6 years ago. We're still right today. You're just finally giving yourself permission to acknowledge it.
Listen, the six of us, well, the five of us right now, because Sully had to bounce out. The five of us discussing Heidi McDonald is more relevance than Heidi McDonald has or deserves. I mean, how many people read The Beat? Like 12? And most of them are us because we read it and then we talk about it on there's like 12 views on these stories about like comics aren't dying, they're changing. And Here's why. And it's the people that read it are people like us who are going to talk about it and are going to monetize it, but the Beat can't monetize it. And that's why they have to go out and they have to ask for donations to pay their writers. It's because they're irrelevant. These comics journalists that want to put this out. Oh, we now have permission to talk about this. Screw you. We've been talking about this for years. We've been pointing to the iceberg for years, and you don't get to control the conversation because you are irrelevant. Nobody listens to you. Everybody knows you're a shill. Everybody knows that you just want to have your sad little, convention parties that you get invited to. So you got to stay in the cool kids club, and it's just a bunch of like aging people who were tangentially in the comic book industry 20 years ago, and it's just like, who cares?
As a member of Gen X and one of a few of us on the panel, I believe that it is our duty and obligation to revoke Heidi McDonald's Gen X card for basically even theorizing that you ever need permission to do anything. Fucking old lady.
Well, one of the things in that article, she even says, as she's writing, oh my God, and all this time saying, oh, comics are doing great, great, great. And in the article, she actually even admits, I don't really read any of the big two. So when she then has to, backpedal, well, it's not the quality of the comic, but it is. And that's where, all of us and everybody listening and commenting, we're kind of on the front lines. We know we've been reading this stuff and we do see things. And yet they didn't want to admit it because, like Aaron said, they're shills who are trying to get this supposed gravy train or try to, be buddies with everybody else. So they wouldn't admit it. And now when you admit it, it's too late. It's already happened. We've been warning about this for so long, all sorts of ways, just not even quality of the comics, but, even beyond that. And they just wanted to, turn a blind eye and pretend because they thought that we were being haters, but we were being realistic and we were being honest about it. And they're just jerks.
Well, we need, I think, here's where they are now allowing themselves to have vague and nebulous the admissions, but they still won't permit themselves to actually dig in to do any sort of look. These are the root cause people. They're root cause of everything, and every social contagion out there. They need to dig in and find the root cause, and apparently it's fucking Christmas or something.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you're saying, Doug, they keep backpedaling even when they admit stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they won't allow themselves to actually dig in, figure out, hey, okay, well, there's a content problem. And that's as far as you go? Really? Just content, vaguely content. Cool. I mean, is it a problem with the paper? Is it a problem with the volume of pages inside of it? Is it what's on the page? I don't know. It's just the content. What the fuck does that mean? There's nothing there. They're willing to. It's baby
talk
steps.
about things like it's content. That is a problem with a lot of everything these days. You don't worry about Disney programs sucking. It's about content. Don't worry about them buying everything up. It's about content. And if it's not them, it was Netflix or is Netflix and all the other streaming services. And it's also in comic books, get that content, get that IP created. Hell, Rob Liefeld was like that in the early days of Image. Just make a bunch of content and something's going to stick, maybe. And if it doesn't, I can at least license it out to Spielberg or Schwarzenegger or whoever it might be.
Doom's 4 coming anytime now.
Right?
I
was just talking about Doom's 4 yesterday.
Hey, I still have the 1/2 issue from Wizard. So,
all right. So,
stop calling it. We need to stop calling it
when the contract
content.
was running out. Rob Liefeld then got that first issue out, and it got a renewal from Spielberg for like another $2 million.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, look, God love him. He made his
Ron
money.
Shrewd.
But part of the problem is that we need to stop allowing them to even call it content. It's just volume. That's all that matters at Marvel right now, is just shovel out more volume. And you're even seeing that, from some of the editors that are saying like, hey, like there's a space to fill. What do we do? We need a book.
No.
So just, come up with an idea. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I want to go on with what you're saying. I can't believe we're going to get this change in the X office. And he immediately, before anything has happened, said, we're going to still have a shit ton of comics to buy.
Ton.
Yeah.
I mean, are you crazy?
I would ask him. I would ask him if he's fucking high, but he probably would make better decisions if he was.
Yeah.
Because you can't. I don't know if there's a way to make worse decisions. Hey, by the way, we're replacing everyone in this office because nothing in here is working. And by the way, we're not changing a fucking thing.
No.
What?
I just can't. I can't get on board with this. It's daunting.
Like,
and people that are feeling like it's daunting, even if they're down with the X office right now, everything that's going on in the books. Even they are feeling like, oh my God, there's just too much of the shit now. And when's it going to be over?
There's just a level of outright fuck. The only way to explain it is retardation in the thought process of everyone involved. Like, none of this shit is difficult. None of it is complicated. None of it is even really all that complex. It's just
not a guarantee that sales will be better, but I mean, sometimes less is more. Sometimes when you're driving on a freeway, you're actually in a slow lane, but you're going faster than everybody else.
So maybe just go into the fast lane.
Yeah.
How about 4 quality books that you're really putting your time into and making sure that they're good, instead of just spamming out 18 books because you've got to fill this arbitrary hole that you've been told to keep, sales at a certain level. It's diminishing returns. It's going to go away
Marvel
quicker.
in general. Yeah.
And the only reason they have like a 12 or 14 or 18 book minimum is because they've declined their per title unit volume to the point where, we have to get 400,000 sales out of this office. We used to be able to do it with 4 titles. We now need 18.
It's quantity over quality.
How many?
It certainly is.
Oh,
jeez.
What's that, Sully?
How many Star Wars are out there?
There's
A
a
lot.
ton. Yeah, there's a ton.
There's Star Wars, there's Dr. Aphra, there's Darth Vader. Those are and Bounty Hunters.
And bounty hunters.
And then right now they're doing this whole Dark Droid thing. So there's a mini series with that.
You got Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Mandalorian.
There's Obi-Wan, Mandalorian, Yoda, and other people sometimes. And
Are they
then
still doing that?
those
Republic
end.
thing?
Then you got High Republic, and then you get High Republic, Shadows of Starlight right now, and some other shit. So I don't know, how many is that?
Normally there's
High
between
Republic is
7 and
10.
10 Star Wars books in a month.
Oh, and then don't forget when they do like hyperspace adventures or Star Wars adventures and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly.
Stuff, but it's still out there. Yeah, I had an issue. A guy just actually this morning asked me, he hasn't been reading comics for a couple of years and wanted to know what are the best Marvel titles to read from the past couple of years. And I had to sit and really, really think of what I would, and it's really like Philip Kennedy Johnson's Incredible Hulk, which doesn't even have that many issues, was the only one that really popped into my mind right away. Moon Knight, I told him, but I had to actually, usually I could, okay, I'll give this guy 6 to 8 titles, boom, boom, boom. I had to get online and start looking up stuff, and I review the comics each week, and I'm like, it's few and far between.
If they're a Gen Xer, I would say those Ron Mars books, because even though I'm not a fan, I know a lot of people are.
Talking about Silver Surfer Legacy or
all that stuff, Warlock,
Peter
Silver
David
Surfer
stuff, but some of that stuff, is even fit. I just to get ongoings and it was tough.
That would require there to be any ongoings to begin with.
I know that's the problem too. Yeah,
there's a lot of comic stores out there with staff and owners that just don't read comics. By the time you get to like you're doing your ordering and stuff like that, you don't even know what you're ordering sometimes, and it's so much, and I can understand that. And after 30 years, I mean, geez, Doc doesn't read new stuff. Why should the comic store owners, right?
Yeah.
I've seen that shit too. And maybe, you know, when you're in a more college type town or a bigger city, you might have some influences that are away from the main two companies. But I think also another thing is that you just don't have people pushing those books, whether it's quality or not. It really doesn't matter. If you don't have any interest in it, you're not going to suggest a Daredevil comic to somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stores that are like that. There's a lot of snobby employees. I've been there.
You've been
now
one.
I need to make money, so it's important to sell Daredevil.
It's not fair. Every comic book retailer that ordered a copy of Alan Scott, the Green Lantern, should have to read the series and see that they're putting at least one person through.
I read a few pages. Isn't that enough?
No.
Can I start blaming my customers for being phobes or something instead? Because when they walk in the door, I'm going to let them know from now on.
You
I
could
got this for you just so I could find out what kind of person you are.
no.
Yeah,
You just
You're on a list.
look. I hate to say it, but at some point we have to say no to people. I mean, granted, I'm still of the look. I've been saying it, and I've been saying it, and I've been saying it.
Flash me here, Doc.
No, we
I
need
don't want
to
to hear I'm complicit with anything.
No.
Yeah.
We need to shove nerds in lockers again, and anyone that wants to buy this shit needs to get shoved in a locker in order to be
people
approved to
enjoy the
purchase
book,
it.
buy the book. It's just it's not selling. That's the problem. There aren't enough things that move you. And that book was doomed just because of the writer and the concept of the whole title.
Wait, listen,
And
look.
where we are.
Alan Scott is a hero who deeply loved all of those men that he picked up for random anonymous prostitute sex. You know, he deeply loved them. The Spectre said so, and the Spectre said, "God loves that you're doing this. Loves that you're banging these hookers. He's on board. How could that not sell? What a heroic tale."
But Tim Sheridan said that wasn't hookers, that was just the 1940s version of Grindr, he said. And I'm like, I don't want to see a comic where a current version of Grindr is involved. So I don't know why I need that before. I just want to know what the idea of somebody just going into that without knowing anything about Alan Scott, what they're going to think he even is, or the Green Lantern part of it, because it's a different version. And Tim Sheridan's not even concerned with doing anything Green Lantern-esque.
I met Martin Nodell, and he was just like the sweetest guy. And he sat there, and he and his wife talked to me as he signed books for me. You know, he drew Alan Scott's Lantern on the all white cover of 0 Hour for me, and I had like a really nice conversation with him. And it just turns my stomach to think that somebody just came in and just smeared shit across the legacy of his character, the legacy of Alan Scott, and just turned him into this absolute amoral. He's not a hero. He's not out there trying to do good. He is a self-obsessed narcissist in this story, as I believe that the writer is by writing this. No. And it just disgusts me that this is what you did to the creation of a man who was in every way you're better.
And it's
don't you have to write like a 3-sentence synopsis before you like start writing stuff for companies, anything like that? What about like a 1-page treatment so you can like boil every what would that be for Alan Scott Green Lantern? I mean, it's all over the place, it sounds like.
It is all.
I mean, you can't. It's not 3 sentences.
They don't.
It's not.
Well, writers don't pitch books anymore.
I
haven't in a long time.
Trying to imagine
they
a scenario.
They hired him. Yeah,
they get pitched by writer or by editors because the editor already has a story they want told.
And you think Christos Gage came in and said, "I want to do Weapon X-Men with a bunch of different versions of Wolverine, and the main character is going to be Jane Howlett"? No, Sarah Brunstad or whoever the ex-editor came up with that, and probably grabbed some things from actual pitches that people have turned in, stole that stuff, and then handed it off to Christos Gage and said, "Write this." And the fact of the matter is, Gage is such a good writer. He should be in there. He should be steering the ideas. Not a bunch of hack editors that have no love of comics, and the only thing that they know is that they watched a little bit of the X-Men cartoon in the 90s, and now they have a job at Marvel. They should not be driving the ship creatively.
Man, do you think the X-Men cartoon is worse than Dark Knight Returns and Watchmen for comic books these days?
I think for this generation, I think it absolutely might be.
Well, I feel like everything that's great in the past. I don't know if it's X-Men cartoon or if it's Grant Morrison X-Men. I think there's a tie.
No,
I think there's a tie for who had the worst influence on comics.
Come on, more people saw that cartoon that are influencing comics these days than have read Grant Morrison's X-Men that are influencing comics these days.
None of the assistant editor pool read Grant Morrison's run.
Oh yeah, that would require them to have actually ever read a comic.
I mean, Jesus, they were trying to undo everything immediately when he was gone. I don't think he had that much of an effect on anything when it comes to that. I'm caping for him right now. I know.
Jason Aaron would say otherwise in that entire era.
Yeah,
of 450,000 useless fucking mutants.
Can we quit with Quentin Quire having the pink hair and being the exact same character that his arc already completed and he came out of because he was no longer having a breakdown? Like, can we stop taking Quentin back to breakdown Quentin during Grant Morrison's run because nobody has any idea how to write him after his arc was completed?
That's because he was a throwaway character that once his arc was completed never should have been continued to be used because he was supposed to fade. He was supposed to fade back into obscurity because his 15 minutes was over. That was the whole message of it.
I mean, you can bring him back and do something interesting with him, but you have to have an idea. And that's the problem, is that there are no ideas.
There are no ideas. Yeah. Again, we talk about it when you have to have a certain amount of books because that's what your accounting people say. You're not going to have as many great ideas. You're just going to throw shit out there.
What color haven't we assigned to a goblin yet in Spider-Man? Just do a book. I don't know.
We haven't done the magenta goblin yet.
Magenta.
That'd be pretty dope.
Cyan.
You're killing me here.
Very Perry
goblin.
It's so true.
Teal. We all have the teal.
Have we made one a kid yet?
I did.
Yes. Yeah.
Osborn's great.
I'm joking. I know.
Everything's just a retread of everything's just a retread of everything that already exists because there's no incentive to create anything, even if you are a good writer. It's like what's going to happen is maybe it gets used in a motion picture and you get a nice little $5,000 thank you and maybe a ticket to the movie, but you don't share in any of the box office profit. You don't even get the same deal that like DC creators get. So why would you bother? Yeah, just make another variation of a goblin. Who cares? Just do dark web. I don't know. It's a magic mailbox and you can talk to Limbo through this mailbox.
Sandwiches.
Yeah, it's just the house of idea.
Nonsense.
Take an idea that already exists and just, hey, a Gwenpool and what other variations of Deadpool can we do at this point?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do think it's funny, Aaron, that we're like specifically like Brian Hibbs writes that article on his tilting into windmills or whatever. He's like, yeah, there's all these problems, but we can't specifically address any of them and what the quality actually stems from, because that might. I don't know. I don't even understand why we can't talk about it. That's the big problem.
Because it inherently gets into, you have to talk about the fact that they are cramming marginalized stories that only appeal to a very niche group of people that don't really make up any huge demographic within the general population, much less the comic book reading population. It comes down to people saying, these stories don't matter to me. I don't care about these stories. I'm not going to read them. And that's a problem because then feelings are hurt. And you can't hurt people's feelings, Wes. You can't have an industry that is primarily read by straight males. We can't have that. We have to try to social engineer everything. So that's the problem. And, you and I have talked multiple times on the channel. I mean, we all have, about the fact that none of us are against any type of story existing, but the mainstream has to be strong enough to support all this stuff. You can't do all these niche comics aimed at you can't be like, okay, so who's this book for? This book is for autistic, disabled, lesbian, bicycle enthusiasts. You can't have that sort of book exist without a healthy industry that draws in enough people that maybe that book has a chance to find an audience. And what we've always been advocating for is not cut all this stuff out. Like this stuff can never exist within comics. It's understand that it's a niche audience, make the mainstream entertainment aimed toward the mainstream audience that likes it. And then that rising tide raises all ships and you can get your little indie projects out there that appeal to those different demographics.
Or at least get Alison Bechdel to write that book.
Do you think that will it pass the Bechtel test?
Well, I'm just saying, if you're gonna have the Dykes on Bikes X-Men, then you might as well have her do it.
See, you can say that because you're in Berkeley.
I can say that, but I don't, because I have that familiarity that won't get me in trouble. At least a personal belief that I have that familiarity.
So it's been an interesting time to know that we can actually talk about all this stuff, but we do have some folks that have chimed in, and it feels like I have a little bit of lag right now. I hope that's not really affecting the stream. But Caleb says, Clownfish talked about this, and they didn't waste time insulting Ryan Higgins, and Heidi and so many others are not an authority on anything.
No, I watched
Well,
that
you
video.
could say
They did a good job breaking it down, and they would know because they've had dealings with all of these people. Right. And Ryan Higgins, it's funny, just 2 weeks ago, saying that he would rather, much like Mark Waid, he would rather watch the industry burn down than have all these Nazis in it that don't exist, all these imaginary Nazis from his head. Being in the comic industry, he'd rather it burn to the ground than admit that they were wrong and that this stuff was a problem and that it didn't exist. That all of their enemies didn't exist. And he's getting his wish. 2 weeks later, he's like, "Oh, all these books are getting canceled by." It's like, well, this is what you wanted. Why are you now complaining? And
they didn't want Scout to go away.
Well,
he didn't want Vault or Black
as far as Brian Hibbs is concerned, why does anybody listen to that guy at all? First of all, he is running. He's running a comic book store, and he is a avowed socialist. It's like you're involved in a capitalist endeavor, and you are a socialist. That doesn't work. Never take financial advice from a socialist or a communist.
Created FOC. Big deal.
And he's resisted every change in the industry that might have allowed it to grow. He is one of the guys that fought the hardest against digital and complained the loudest. And look, manga came in and filled that space.
Marvel when he was upset. He didn't fight Diamond. You know what I mean? So like the FOC and stuff was primarily because of like Marvel being shicey like they are.
I mean, this is a guy who said that like
Diamond to make them do that,
That now that Diamond isn't the only distributor, we went from one monopoly to 3 monopolies. That's not how it works. You can't have 3 monopolies in the same business.
Right. I mean, I hear what he's saying. He's saying the dream would be
because they're exclusive
from 5 different distributors to buy a comic book, rather than just one distributor buy one comic and another distributor to buy another comic. But I hear what you're saying also. It's a fucked system either way. But
I called it. I called it when it happened. I mean, I'm sure we've all been around long enough to remember the whole Capital City, Diamond Heroes World debacle that started all this problem and ended up with a Diamond monopoly for years because of it. Is Marvel thought that they were going to break away. There was originally like 2 distributors that you could order from, and neither one had exclusivity on anything really. It was Capital City and Diamond. Yeah. And then Marvel decided, well, you know what, we're going to start our own distributor and keep more of the money, and so they bought Heroes World. And then they moved all their stuff over there.
Then everybody was signing up exclusive from Diamond to Capital, and it was like Diamond was the one, and Capital was like, "See y'all later."
Yep, and they folded. And so what you ended up with was then Marvel fell flat on their face with Heroes World and went back to Diamond.
Like everybody knew that was going to happen, is like Marvel's idiots. And then you're 100% right.
And this is just the same situation as now it's split out a bunch of exclusive deals, and the retailers are getting less of a discount on books because of it, because their orders aren't as big, because they're not ordering everything from one company. So
and Diamond still hasn't renegotiated rates with UPS in any way or with any other company, just like before, like for 40 years. And I'm getting better service from Lunar and Penguin Random House, and everybody that sticks with Diamond can spin basically.
And what does Diamond have left? Like Boom, Dynamite?
They got people I want to leave that company ASAP. Let's be announced now if you want me to buy your shit anymore. Value.
Jotty J Boogie says, to everyone who says we can talk about comics fairly, but we can't say woke is a problem, I say F that you, woke is a problem. It's not the only problem, but certainly is a problem. There's an overall enormous quality issue, and the forcing of certain ideas onto comic book superheroes where they just don't really make sense has been a huge quality issue.
Yes.
And the
get
rush to hire
content
people.
out and get people buying, you have to do something special. And back in the day, it was a different costume or killing somebody. Now it's this.
Make them gay.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not gonna go too deep into that, but
No.
it's obvious you're giving you're doing like Fortnite. It's a new character skin, you know what I mean?
Yes.
That's what the kids like these days, I hear.
Yeah, there's nothing. Look, woke is I hate it.
I hate it too.
I hate the terminology, but it's a problem for Marvel and DC. And the reason why it's a problem for Marvel and DC is, and it becomes a problem for everywhere else, is because Marvel and DC is what gets asses into the seats in the first place. It doesn't matter what kind of, how great your indie, whatever. Now it could be a great indie superhero, third publisher, great story, but that doesn't get anybody in the car to drive to the store. Sorry.
Even the bookstore, my Barnes and Noble has one small shelf that's about 4 feet across, about 6 feet high, that's filled with Western graphic novels that you can buy. And then it has almost, I think by last count, it was just shy of 20 shelves full of manga.
Yeah.
What does that tell you? That tells you
I'm
that's
not
what
shopping
is
there.
Now, in fairness, there is one thing that Western comics looks at as a perk, but manga looks at it like, don't fucking do that. That's a terrible idea. Which is they look at especially the graphic novel market as the opportunity to be experimental in their sizing, their formatting, everything like that, and it makes your shelf look like shit.
Yep, it looks
really
like a mess.
does. It
looks, I don't want to shop it. I look at it and everything's mismatched and everything's a different size and it's all jammed in there. And it just, you look at it and you go, I don't want to go. Not
only do I not want to shop it, I don't want it on my shelf in my house.
Really? I mean, I think the distillery format is kind of brave. I mean, finding nice stock and I've got a few.
Sully, it's not happening, brother.
I'm so sorry, dude.
I don't know how to tell you. It's like we have no idea what you're saying.
Magazines are great, Eric.
Well, but just as a distillery, yes, very experimental, and they returned 95% of that first book that they put out. They it went back.
Really?
To yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, and
I sold out of that.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I'm sure you didn't have a stack of it, but you could have ordered a stack because it was returnable, and you would have ended up kicking back, what you didn't sell. So there's sell through on this.
Gone. I mean, stripped covers of Gone actually, which was fantastic, but you can only sell so much. You're right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's just not gonna. It's this has been tried before. They've tried to do these boutique artist things. I think Ghost Machine is in a much better position than Distillery. I hope it's definitely got talent behind it, and it's got some people that actually know the industry. Distillery is I worked with Chip Mosher, and he used to always say when we were at Boom that the last good comic that came out, there hadn't been a good comic since Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol. And it was always like, oh my God, and you're in charge of marketing our comics, and you don't think there's been a single good comic since then? This seems like a bad idea. Well, but he keeps convincing tech bros to give him money for startups. So we'll see how long till the tech money, they get tired of not getting a return on that investment.
There'll be another one.
Warachi says Olive Garden is the Italian-American Denny's.
It's fine
No.
with me.
Denny's is significantly better
No,
than the Olive Garden.
I don't get the hate for great American companies.
No, because
do you have an Olive Garden there, Wes? When's the last time you ate at an Olive Garden?
Denny's understands the American diner, which is a greasy spoon, and
I have been to a Denny's
throw a shit ton of grease on their food. Olive Garden still doesn't understand what a spice is. and they sell Italian food. So no, they are not the same. Denny's, greasy spoon, greasy food. Olive Garden, fake Italian food, no spices.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Doc, come in and get your lasagna wings with extra Italy.
Caleb says, this isn't a joke. What I learned about Tim Sheridan is that he's a boring writer in the ramblings of a frustrated and perverted gay man. Now, Jim, you learned more about Tim Sheridan probably than anyone this week because you guys went to war on the social medias.
Yeah, he attacked me, I think.
What?
Yeah, the thing is, he's a frustrated writer who can't write and is desperate to get some hype behind a book to hope it does better so that he can end up writing some more. But I think this is it for him. He's just not a good writer. I mean, if you go and you read that Titans Academy and then his Shazam miniseries and you expect this Alan Scott book to be good, then I don't know what you've been reading before, because he's just not a good comic book writer. And it shows. He has a story that he has in mind, but he doesn't care to really develop it. He doesn't care to tell people why they should like Alan Scott Green Lantern even before the idea of the sexuality. You know, you have to mix those in. You have to show people why this works in all sorts of ways, including the superhero stuff. He just doesn't want to do it. And I'll tell you, when you talk to him, he'll sit there and he'll yell at you. But the minute that you press him on anything to do with that comic of, well, why would you do this? Or you don't understand the Spectre, he'll then pull back and blame everyone else. He'll throw everybody under the bus. Oh, that's what they wanted me to write. But then he'll start arguing with you again. And pretty much what I learned, and, you know, to not mince words, he's a dick. He's a jerk who just doesn't want to admit that anybody else's opinion means anything. He thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, and he's not. He's a bad comic book writer. That's what it all comes down to.
Caleb also says that he's deeply insecure because he only wants a certain kind of gay people to buy his crap, not get into his rainbow bubble.
Well, you need to start out from a place of, okay, I'm writing this gay Alan Scott book. What is it that's interesting about the character of Alan Scott? And it's not that he's gay, because that's not interesting. That's not interesting, and it's certainly not interesting right now in the comic book industry, because that's every book pretty much. You know, and obviously I'm exaggerating when I say that. I'm a little bit of hyperbole, so don't, get the person, Mark Wade going, no, everybody says every book. But the fact of the matter is that is a story beat for so many of these books, and there's nothing interesting or compelling about that. So tell me an interesting and compelling story about Alan Scott, the man, a hero who happens to be gay.
And
if you start out from there, you have a much better chance of telling a story that's going to hook in readers. That's going to hook in readers that normally would be like, I'm not really interested in reading this. But, if you're telling a good superhero story, like, I think everybody here loves Midnighter and Apollo from the original runs of The Authority. And those were two interesting. I mean, part of the dynamic with that was it's kind of funny because you're like, oh, it's like Superman and Batman, but they're a couple. And there was, you got some chuckles out of that because it was kind of turning some things on its head. But they were still compelling characters that were well written and had individual personalities and had elements of heroism to them that you could identify with, even if you didn't necessarily agree with their methods.
Dan,
that's the sort of thing that you need to approach these stories with.
I got a question for you, Aaron. Mm-hmm. Should Alan Scott be able to phase through wood? Or I'm sorry, paper, since it's made of wood?
I mean, is that still even a weakness that they keep? I mean, obviously, we can make the jokes, it's his weakness. He's down trolling for wood at the docks. It is his weakness.
Oh, no. God damn it, guys.
Well, this is the problem. Like what Wes is saying, no, the problem is that people reading this book wouldn't even know that because he's not giving
He phases through fucking books in the book.
He does, and that's not right. Also,
that's his weakness.
What you end up having,
there's a lot of stuff wrong with
the Spectre shows up this week, and he never really even
is it
gives
though?
You
Didn't
the
they
idea.
Do away with?
Well,
didn't they do away with that?
No, that's the actual real. This is the problem. That's the actual real Green Lantern Corps, not the original Alan Scott deal, because he has the living flame. It should still be there. So, you have the Spectre show up this week. This just shows how bad he is. He doesn't even really tell anybody who didn't know who the Spectre is that there is a Jim Corrigan and the Spectre. You never get that. And then instead of making it something where you could have a little bit of conflict, the Spectre being the vengeance of God, oh my God, a gay man, but he does it with I'm going to hug him and say God's fine. But it's just he doesn't get the idea of what makes comics interesting. He ends up just having people. And also at the dock scene when, oh my God, one of my biggest problems is he bails on all those other guys. Like, what kind of heroes? Like, oh shit, the cops are here. Boom, and he leaves all these guys to get their skulls cracked in. Like, he just doesn't get what a hero is.
Well, and also
he's
the
not
Spectre
standing up for
is
even his
established
own-
as a homophobe.
Yeah, and that would be interesting. Even if you played the idea Spectre,
Like,
but
it's
Jim
not Spectre.
Corrigan is okay. Like, hey, it's not me, it's that Spectre. Like, make that a bit of a conflict where that might be interesting. It might, have something. But no, he goes and hugs them. The Spectre hugging people.
Weird.
He rips people's hearts out and shit. And he's
What is
hugging
this?
them.
An issue of She-Hulk where they're hugging
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
end? Oh my
Yeah.
God!
So weird.
Hey, well, next issue they're twerking. You'll come on. It'll be just like the She-Hulk show.
Oh, okay.
You want to see? You're not excited to see Alan Scott and the Spectre twerk?
Oh no, not at all. Well, I mean, sure, maybe.
Federico de la Casa says Quentin Quire was written like Bart Simpson.
All right.
It's fair.
I like Bart Simpson.
Don't have a cow, man.
Bart was written better.
Probably.
Eat my shorts.
Callum says, last I checked, God sees prostitution as sinful. He sent the Spectre to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
That would require reading the comic history, much less
It's not Spectre.
No.
No, it's a mouthpiece to say, hey, all you haters, look, God's good with it. And it just, whether or not you agree with that or whatever, it's not the character.
not
It's
only
completely
that.
immaterial whether you agree with that because this is people coming in and writing their agenda instead of writing stories from the established lore of the characters. And that's always the problem. You can go in and you can change things, but you have to make it make sense with what already exists. The reason that people were ready to accept Hal Jordan coming back in Rebirth is that Jeff Johns went into everything that had been written before and was like, okay, what's the out? How do I get him out of here? Well, I can explain the yellow impurity. I can explain, all these things that are part of the Green Lantern lore, and I can expand upon it and make the story make sense. It wasn't him; it was Parallax, who was infected in the battery, and it got through Hal through fear. He was being manipulated, and it absolves Hal. But it all comes out of the lore and out of actually doing the work to dig into the character and the history and the giants that you're standing on the shoulders of that have written before you.
Yeah. So HH, the guys at Sigma Comics, I do want to let people know I had a wonderful conversation with HH this past week. It's going to be up on Monday. So on New Year's Day, we got a nice 25, 30-minute conversation with the HH myself. He says, happy and prosperous 2024 to the Thinking Critical team. Comics need a business messiah as Steve Jobs. Sound point by Aaron, but this climate cancels you. F them, indies are the future. Here comes Calico, still on Kickstarter. Absolutely. We got the 8th issue, and that's the end of the first story arc and stuff. I know they got some special editions that are coming out after this one, and definitely appreciate all the support to HH and those guys. And he should be on the Comic-Con circuit again. I guess he's on vacation in Florida right now, enjoying a little
HH,
rest.
I want to read your book. Let me know. Just hit me up on Twitter or Instagram or something. Send me a message. Let me know the easiest way to make that happen.
Very nice. Well, I'm not sure if you can get all the issues on Kickstarter right now, but I know that they do have a distribution deal through Diamond. So there's a chance that you can get it through your local comic book shop.
Or if there's a trade coming because he's wrapping up the...
There is a trade coming,
storyline.
absolutely.
Awesome.
Federico de la Casa, as a European, I see this period not only in comics like the Weimar Republic. It was extreme on sex and liberties, and that created the Nazis, the real ones. I fear that woke are creating the new real Nazis.
Well, I mean, there's an argument to the idea that you end up, if you push so far in one direction, the pendulum by its nature ends up swinging just as far, if not further, in the opposite direction. And that's some, a potential outcome.
Yeah, I hate that. Like I said, we all said, most of us, that the woke deal, but It's not even what's in the books themselves that I think is the problem. It goes beyond. It's the idea of only hiring certain people to do certain books. So that limits that. Then also the editors doing most of the ideas, so you don't have ideas. And Aaron, I think, mentioned it earlier. Nobody pitches books anymore, so you never get the writer who has the strongest story or the person who has that love of a character. You just get assigned books. So all that combined just ends up being bullcrap. I mean, they say there's no bad book, there's only bad writers. Well, we have a ton of bad writers right now, not a lot of good books. So,
well, because we cast writers instead of hiring writers
yeah.
based on their pitch.
I've actually talked to some people who said I had a great Wonder Woman story, and I mean, people were saying, and when they said we're not even going to read it because of who you are, and so it just gets tossed aside.
Yeah, kind of building on what Federico's talking about here, though, there is a tendency, if you look throughout history, if you're able to paint a group of people as something that is so vile and evil, you can justify even more vile and evil behaviors against them and think that you come out justified or whatever. Obviously, history does not look on those people kindly, but I could see where he could see some similarities on where we could be headed.
Yeah, like Doc said, the pendulum swings back, and it swings back hard. The further that you push it, the harder it swings back. And that's why, I think we try to advocate for reasonable discussion and for, there to be a back and forth where we can talk about these ideas. And that's, part of why these shows like this are so great and why YouTube has been so good. And that's why the fans have largely moved towards YouTube commentators, and they don't listen to people like Heidi. They don't listen to people like Rich, because they see them for what they are. They see them for the propagandists and the shills that they are. And so they come here, and whether or not they agree with us on everything, at least they know that we're giving them our honest take on it and that we're willing to discuss it.
Jose de Beast says Tim Sheridan co-wrote Masters of the Universe for Netflix. That should say it all about his lack of understanding what geeks want and failures.
Wait, seriously, he did? That's actually kind of funny.
yeah, no, it's absolutely, and the comics too that were completely terrible that Dark Horse put out. Just an absolute fail for the Masters of the Universe franchise.
So he did that thing with Kevin Smith?
Yeah.
Revelations, what's it called?
So in the comic, you know what Skeletor's original origin is, like from the 2000 cartoon that kind of reestablished. So originally in the comics, they didn't, and in the He-Man lore, they didn't really know what to do with Skeletor. He was a Lord of Destruction in the mini comics, a demon from another dimension. And then in the cartoon, they never really got into it. Skeletor was just the bad guy. They didn't really talk about his rise. But when they did the 2000 cartoon, he's the half brother of Randor, named Keldor, who's part Gar, and the Gar are a race that is generally looked down on by the rest of the Eternians. And he ends up plotting against Randor and tries to take the throne, and throws this magical, like, kind of acid chemical at Randor, and it gets deflected into his face, and his face gets burned off. And then they take him to the altar of Hordak, and he's, Hordak restores him, but he becomes Skeletor. That's kind of the origin that they got, and that's the origin everybody accepted and everybody liked. And then when they did this comic that ties in, now Skeletor is just from a race of skeleton-faced people. And he's got like a wife who's got there's female versions of Skeletor, and everybody's a Skeletor. But then they have the line in the cartoon that doesn't even tie into the comics that they're writing, where he says that his face was scarred and left him so that no woman would touch him, because they wanted to make Skeletor an incel to own all the chuds. And it's like, it isn't even consistent within your own lore, because you guys are so terrible at this.
It feels like it's almost as bad as when you see Chewbacca's wife and she's got the apron on.
Come on, that was gold. Come on, Wes. I know you celebrate Life Day.
Don't talk trash on Itchy either.
It was so funny that she had an apron on. It's like, you're covered in fur. What do you need the apron for?
You don't want to.
Well, because you don't want to get. When you're making
take a bath.
Chewbacca loves ribs.
When you're making the Olive Garden lasagna wings for Chewie, you don't want to get marinara in your fur.
She's cooking bacon.
I think it's a bigger concern that Itchy was watching porn.
I know. Itchy was sauce.
Oh my goodness. Caleb says, lastly, Sheridan does talk down to people like they're lesser race, and I do stand by calling them a perverted gay man. I have no problems with you say that, because like, if you look at what his idea of heroism, like taking a Golden Age superhero and having them go down to the docks and pick up multiple prostitutes, like, clearly there's
Seriously.
something like you don't understand heroism or morality. Like that's
Tim Sheridan just wishes that he had the clout to end up writing an indie book about a closeted gay man in the 40s, and he doesn't have that. Nobody would care because it's Tim Sheridan, so he's doing it here.
And let's be clear here: we would be just as upset if Tony Stark was going down and picking up female
if Jake
prostitutes.
Harris was going down for quickies on the dock with prostitutes, I would call that out immediately.
Yes, the idea of heroes picking up hookers. Look, there was that issue with the Punisher where he like saves this hooker and she basically straight up offers him a little bit of something
Wow.
in exchange, and he's like, nah, fucking go get a real job.
Yeah, that's
please.
what makes them heroes, because they do
Yes.
things that we wouldn't. Right?
Yes,
I mean,
this is an unsafe.
Wait, what are you saying?
what we
Joe?
would. I'm not saying that it's stuff we wouldn't do, right? They're heroes.
You're supposed to aspire to the behavior
Yeah.
of the hero, not
Like,
bring them down
yeah.
to your behavior.
I'm like, I should
So
be
you
like that
can't-
hero.
So you're saying like as a hero, and you save a liquor store from being robbed, and they offer you a 6-pack, you should not supposed to take that.
No, you're not.
No, you can take the 6-pack as a reward.
Oh, okay.
You can have a beer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it's
it's
like
like
to
difference
kids,
between
right?
drinking a
Look,
beer
yeah,
on
hooker
your
is
porch
just another beer.
and going down and picking up prostitutes.
Yeah,
on the way.
we're not doing the sex work is real work thing today.
No. Next thing you know, like fucking Tony Stark has an OnlyFans. You're like, what?
Well,
You
I'm
don't
saying-
get it?
Power
It's
Girl should
relatable.
have an OnlyFans,
Just-
but she's
just
a
as-
hero.
You're not gonna subscribe to Tony's OnlyFans with his junk out like Randy on the latest South Park special. It's like his junk is just out the
Just
whole
out.
episode.
I don't think Alan Moore's point when he made Watchmen is this is what heroes should be or what they are. This is what a perverted version of a hero would be because our society is ugly. Like I don't think he was talking about the state of heroes. He was talking about the state of us. Right?
Well, here, the way that Tim Sheridan makes sure that his Alan Scott is heroic is he makes sure that whatever their hourly rate is, he doubles.
Yeah, exactly. We're not having a-
So he's a good tipper.
He's a
He's
good
not
tipper,
he's not
yeah.
just the tipper.
There,
Yeah,
The-
not
the
just
quote-
the
something that
tip.
your pimp won't take.
It's the quote unquote donation.
I work with imbeciles. Yalb says, on what Jose to be said, he really, really doesn't like it when you call him out on that. And I can't wait for the failure at the crying of part 2.
He'll never admit the failure.
No, he'll just do it again on whatever next thing he's handed. And again
Yeah,
on the next thing, and again on the next thing until he fails himself right out of the industry like so many before him
So he has to
and
go to
so
Marvel
many
next,
after.
is what you're saying.
Yeah, he's got to go to Marvel. He needs to be on the X-Men lines where he needs to be. So, Aaron,
Hey.
did the Masters of the Universe Revelations characters, did any of that sell either? Did people just check out on
No,
all of them?
actually, well, see, here's the funny thing about that. So the first figures that they came out with were the Revelations versions of the characters. And before the cartoon came out, they were selling pretty well. Then the cartoon hit and it died. But because it was that
Exactly.
first wave, at big box retail, you had a bunch of Skeletors, you had a bunch of He-Mans, you had a bunch of, shaved, mental illness haircut Tilas that sat on the shelves and just sat there because nobody bought them. So the later figures that came out that were based on the original, versions of the characters that they're doing now have had a hard time reaching regular retail. You have to basically go through specialty shops to find them. There's like a new Trapjaw, new Mechanic and stuff that's out, and they're not hitting regular big box retail. You have to either grab them online or grab them from small retailers that offer them because Revelation killed the line so quickly for the general public.
That's Hasbro? No, that's Mattel.
Mattel.
Right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, not surprised. Everything that guy touches turns to crap. And that's just because he's a bad writer.
Hey,
And I do want to.
when he comes to Marvel and he gets to write Somnus will pay after he molestifies you in your sleep for 1,000 years.
Ooh, I got some dream money.
All right, fellas,
Maybe
we
Alan
do
Scott
have
will
some debates that we were going through last week. We had 30 in total. We didn't get through all of them. I think we got 12 left. We'll see what we can finish off this week. But these were a lot of fun, and we didn't get the Yule Carter, Jim, or Aaron Sparrow experience. We didn't get Eric either, but he seems to still be having issues.
It's
We'll
not-
see.
I think
It's
it's weird. I think it's
experience with
weird that right after we talked about Alan Scott, you're using the phrase "finish off."
Oh. Here it is. Protestant 3207. The Flash isn't even fast enough to hit Professor X.
Correct. The
Flash
speed
is
of
faster than the speed of thought.
no, he's not.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not. Otherwise, his own speed, his own thought would prevent. He has to. at
His
least
mind
think
doesn't
about
work at the same speed as yours, Doc.
Mike Barron in issue number 1 of his Flash had Flash running down the street, and he saw something, and he didn't react until he was like a mile past that.
Yeah.
What's that mean?
Because that's how fast he was. His mind didn't even understand it until he was a mile past it. That's how.
But his
fast he
mind
is.
has to be faster than.
Yeah, my
the
dad
people
called
that he's running
bullshit on that.
past. Yeah,
My dad's
that's
like,
that's.
yeah, that does not how your brain works, Mike Barron.
Look, I
That's
think we
what
can
he
all
said.
agree that the Flash is faster than Quicksilver. I don't think that's even
Yes.
even remotely. And if you take Peter David's X Factor, he expertly explains why Pietro is such a dick
Yes.
most of the time, and it's because they said, and I think it's Valerie Cooper or says to him that like, oh, well, your teammates say that you have PMS, and he's like, what? And they're like, Pietro Maximoff syndrome. And he explains to Doc Samson when he's being interviewed, like for the psychological test for the team, that he says, have you ever stood behind somebody at an ATM that just does not know how to operate it? Have you ever been ordering a hamburger and the idiot behind the counter cannot comprehend how to put in Whopper no pickles? He said, why do you get irritated? Because they are slowing your life down to a crawl.
Wasting my
And
time.
the reason that I am irritated all the time is because every single person on the face of the earth is that to me. And so what that tells you is he is thinking faster than you as well. And so therefore, so should the Flash. The Flash should be able to think faster than Professor X can react because he's moving at super speed and his mind needs to move at super speed as well. The problem
Professor
with the
X
speedster
wouldn't
is,
know he wanted to hit him before it happened.
That's
Right.
the thing. He had
That's-
to be
if it
like
was-
spying on him at first, I think, is what it comes down to.
theoretically, the Flash
knows,
should
then
be
it's over.
unbeatable. Yeah, the Flash should be unbeatable based on his power set. None of his rogues gallery should be able to touch him because they should be defeated before they even realize that he's coming down the street.
The Flash is a problem.
Man.
The speedsters
is
are
amazing.
it's the
He's
the
always
problem of
been a
writing
problem.
speedsters. You really have to be forgiving to kind of get past a lot of the stuff.
Yeah.
All right, Doc, have you come to the right side of the force, or are you staying on the dark side?
No. I still disagree with this.
Well, explain yourself, sir. How are we wrong on this one?
Because all Professor X, he doesn't even have to think sentences. He just has to think in concepts in order to just totally erase the Flash's mind. He could literally
the
just
Flash
put
would
him,
have already hit him before he even realized the Flash was a danger.
I disagree.
Doc, if Professor X is so smart, how come he can't make himself walk?
Yeah, right. He can't run
Because
away.
he doesn't
Because
have
Doc
telekinetic
says it was
powers.
not a valid argument, Doc. We got to defend
No,
this,
I saw a fake inspirational poster once that was like Stephen Hawking, and then it said intelligence underneath it. Like those inspirational posters that you see. But then underneath it said, "If you're so goddamn smart, how come you can't make yourself walk, smarty?" And I was just like, "That is not a real inspirational poster."
It is real funny.
Yeah, somebody
All right,
actually printed
Jim.
that up.
What do you think about this one, Jim? Can the Flash hit Professor X?
Yeah, I think he would hit him. I don't know that he'd, do it. Like, you'd have Professor X react then, I think, before he gets really clobbered. But still, again,
How many
don't wanna
shots
make the
does he
jokes.
get
He's-
off
yeah, and
before
he is still in a
Professor X
wheelchair.
realizes
But,
it?
yeah, I think
Technically,
one,
anybody
but-
the Flash runs next to, let alone hits, should just like turn into part of.
Oh,
him.
yeah.
the
they should.
minute that Flash even thinks about hitting Xavier already knows it and stops it.
Xavier
Maybe
doesn't
he thinks about
penetrate your
hugging him.
mind if you don't allow him to, unless you're.
What
a
if
threat.
Lalandra is giving him a Hummer? You think he's paying attention then?
Then you're gonna have to face
Maybe-
the wood.
Well, hey, we don't know exactly where his paralysis starts.
What
I-
if Xavier
I-
is trolling for Shi'ar prostitutes down at the docks?
Because I don't think Xavier can get it up.
Xavier doesn't tip either. He's a real asshole.
Just looking for red.
But see,
herrings.
Xavier has some of the same
He
problems
just
as the.
convinces them that he tipped. And paid.
It's the same problem as the Flash. You know, when you get these characters that are these uber power levels, you know, you almost have to kind of like take them out of the story or nerf them somehow.
Well, that's what
in order for
happens
it to
every
work.
time there's a pandemic story, or like anytime they always have to make sure the Flash is
They're on
protected
another
because,
planet
yeah,
or something. Yeah.
Mhm.
Somebody said something about nerds in the comments, so we might want to change it to the next one.
What are we? Okay. Well,
we're not going to get Sully's opinion. Come on.
nah, Sully's. I don't know what Sully's on an adventure that none of us are able to enjoy with him.
I'll bring back presents.
He's
Dark Admiral Marcher said, "How many shots does he get off?" I'm talking about the Flash now, not Alan Scott.
Sully, who can the Flash hit Professor X?
I would have Professor X have Nightcrawler bring him to the bottom of the ocean and dress and walk away.
There you go.
He can swim fast too.
There you go. That's the backup you got on this with Doc. I think I'm on the Team Flash here. Next we have Eric Andrew. He says Emerald Twilight was great. Hal Jordan was and is boring and should have stayed dead. Kyle's crab mask Green Lantern costume is the GOAT.
Nope.
I agree with
there's no
half
debate
of this
here.
statement. Hal should have stayed dead.
Yeah, probably. Oh, is Wes leaving us on this one? Is this even debatable?
Leaving us on this.
There's no way that crab mask is the GOAT. You can think it all you want, but I don't agree at all. And
tell me something interesting. Tell me something interesting that Kyle Rayner has done.
He let his girlfriend get shoved in it.
Yeah, he did that. He was nailing
refrigerator.
Carol Ferris at one point.
He
He
gave
did
Gail
all the chicks he
Simone a
wanted.
job.
Yeah. He was with Donna Troy, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
That's true.
And who else did you say, Jim?
Carol Ferris, he was with.
Jenny Lynn
that's
Hayden,
right.
Jade.
My goodness. She has a
There's
thing for
Jade.
Green Lantern. Jade, yeah.
Jade.
Who cheated on him in his own shower while he was off planet. Oh, what a jerk.
That's right. I remember that. That was
He
Wet
was a
Winnick
White
doing that
Lantern.
one, right?
He became, so that's cool, right?
Like,
Ceramic
there's things about
not true.
Kyle that's like GOAT, but I don't think it's that crab mask.
He makes cartoony like constructs.
He was
Yeah, man.
banging
That was
the
the
granite.
big
Construct has to
promise.
be different, right?
That was the big promise of him as a character, and it
I
never
know.
really he never really paid off in any
I know.
substantial way because everybody kind of does that. It's like, oh, he made some anime mechs. All right.
Yeah, but he's like Vanna White. He doesn't do the same one twice. You know, Hal Jordan's going to use that boxing glove all the time, you know, and stuff.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, because when you find a reliable tool, you just go with it.
Well, I understand,
What
but
Alan
he's an
Scott
artist,
said.
so you know he's got to have like some good stuff. You know, people like Hal. There's people that like Hal.
Sinestro hated his guts.
People are wrong too.
Yeah, but now that you have Hal
Wait,
and you have
there's nothing
Barry
wrong with
back,
Hal.
it's like
I like Hal.
Oh wait, hold on.
Yeah, no, no.
Apparently Eric can talk when Wes isn't here.
you can hear
What?
me?
Are they
What?
the same
Yes.
person?
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
coming through
Yeah.
clear.
You got
Yeah.
your last updated AOL disc going there?
I did, yeah. Windows 95 is up and running.
All right.
He
God,
he
yeah.
upgraded from the 28.8 to the 56K modem.
He's announcing it on his GeoCities page.
he's like, wait, let me look up what you guys are talking about in Encarta.
I mean, DC Comics in a
Where's
way
my
were
paperclip?
better when Hal was dead and when Barry was dead.
I'm
I
seeing
mean-
that in chat too. Yeah, I agree. Like it never felt like that they were gonna come back from the dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they did. So
And now it's
That's
a
kind
I
of
mean,
It's
I never
overcrowded
thought Bucky would. I never thought Bucky would be back. I thought that was sacrosanct. But apparently, the
Yeah.
only sacrosanct character that you can't bring back is Uncle Ben.
Uncle
But
Ben.
some hack will try it. You know, we're definitely in that phase where
Yeah.
some hack will do it, and it'll
Somebody
be awful.
that thinks that they're as good as Brubaker.
He'll be an undercover spy or something.
I used to think the worst thing about superhero comics was having to read 3 pages of like the origin of that character or the last 10 stories that I've been reading, over and over again, every issue.
Wow.
But man, at least that made me remember everything about those characters without having to bring them back and dishonor them.
Mhm.
Kind of a thing.
Do we really think Kyle's Green Lantern Matt costume is the best?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
No,
It's Joe
I mean,
Mullins,
it's-
right?
it's very, JoJo Mullen's fine ass.
He's got
Oh yeah,
the
that's the
blast.
best one. Yeah.
Teen
For real?
Lantern.
John Stewart's.
Green Lantern. You
like
don't
Jon
like
Stewart.
Jessica Cruz's costume? I like the thing on her eye. It's cool.
Yeah, that's kind
Yeah,
of
no,
cool.
I dig it. I
Simon
dig.
Baz.
Yeah, I'm a Simon Bass fan. We need to
I
see
like
more
that.
of him
I
again.
like that.
Yeah.
I think they forgot about him.
We might have him coming up. Unfortunately, it might be Sam Humphries doing backups. It might end up. With him.
Sam Humphries.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
They
great.
jack
So,
him up.
yeah, well,
I
you
like
know,
Sam Humphries.
you need
I mean, not
you need a
everything.
story where a character is going to have sex with a dog.
I never read that one, and I don't care. It was a self-published thing
Yeah.
that got him notoriety. And hey, man, that's what you're supposed to do with your self-published stuff. Get notoriety for it.
Was the main character a white girl?
No, it's a white dude.
Oh,
That makes no sense. Evil Black Cat says Batman
Well,
Noel is a Christmas comic. Batman Arkham Origins is a Christmas game, and Batman Returns is a Christmas movie. This stuff is driving me insane. Everything's a Christmas movie nowadays because we bent on Die Hard, which it's a Christmas movie, but
Born on the 4th of July was totally a
Christmas.
Christmas movie.
Summer school.
Ooh, one of my
Christmas movie.
faves.
it's probably the best Christmas movie. I mean, what do you think, Aaron? Is Batman Noel a Christmas comic?
I mean, it takes place at Christmas. Here's my criteria. Does Christmas play a central role? If you remove Christmas, does the story still work? And so I would give you Batman Returns as a Christmas movie, even though Christmas isn't the central
That
theme,
could have been a
because
Thanksgiving parade.
It could have been, but who does a Thanksgiving parade?
Macy's.
Well, they usually have Santa on that
Macy's
one.
does.
The problem is that you needed another parade. Like we already did a parade in the first movie, and now you need another parade. Because there's a lot of the beats are the same, but you do get the nice little moment at the end with Merry Christmas, Master Bruce, and I always like that. I like the setting the snow. You got Shrek's department store. There's a lot of things. We got to get this done before the end of the year. Because everybody's shutting down for Christmas. There's Christmas elements that are central to the plot, so I'll kind of give it there. Christmas or Batman Noel. I don't remember.
How about the one
enough
where
of the story
Harley Quinn uses Christmas presents to blow up kids in Gotham all at the same time? Is that a Christmas book?
Yes.
It's pretty
Yes.
integral to the story.
It is a Christmas book. It's not a cheerful, like happy, you don't have to, look, Violent Night is a Christmas movie. Is it a cheerful, triumph of the human spirit Christmas movie? No, it's a beaten guys with a baseball bat, bad guys with a baseball bat Christmas movie. It's Christmas vengeance.
Is Jack Frost a fucking Christmas movie?
Yes.
It's a Halloween movie.
Wait, which one are we talking about? The Michael
Michael
Keaton one,
Keaton
the
is a
Rick and
fucking
Bass,
evil-
or the...
Evil
Snowman?
snowman?
No, he's not an evil snowman. He's a good snowman. You're thinking there's a horror movie, Jack Frost.
There's a horror movie with the
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother and I used to rent both of them and then return them in the opposite cases.
throw people off.
I don't know what we were just thinking, like, in retrospect, it was a horrible thing to do. Like some parents gonna plop their kid down, or you're gonna watch this heartwarming Christmas movie, and this Frosty starts murdering people in the shower.
That was the first reholdering scam. Aaron was a part of. That's a little CGC joke for all you out there.
Yeah, that's right. But
Is Arkham Origins a Christmas game?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it takes place at Christmas, and but it's really the conceit to keep everybody indoors. Like, there's a big winter storm, and it's Christmas Eve. But like, there's no real
What's with the
heartwarming Christmas stuff
conspiracy
going
of
on.
all these Gen X guys who I should be able to relate to, wanting to claim that all these action movies are fucking Christmas movies?
Because they are, and
'Cause
I'll
they
even
watch them at
say
Christmas.
people were
Lethal
laughing.
Weapon is not a Christmas movie.
People were saying about Thanksgiving Day parades, but Santa's in that, so I say that's a Christmas parade too. So they're wrong.
Everybody,
I got
Bloodsport's a
piled on.
Christmas
People
movie, too.
unfollowed me. They hated me. They said they wouldn't watch the channel because I said I've had enough. I draw the line at Die Hard.
As I told Wes yesterday, I'm still weirdly believe that the Star Wars movies are Christmas movies because USA or TBS or one of those fucking stations used to always play a marathon of them on Christmas, even though that has nothing to do with Christmas. So
Well,
I just
Wookiee Life
associate
Day.
them with Christmas.
Wookiee Life Day. You know what it is? It's if you watch a movie at Christmas, in your formative years, like when you're a kid or whatever, and that gives you a nostalgia for Christmas time, then I
They
guess
used to
for
play
you it
Wizard
is
of
a
Oz at
Christmas
Christmas.
movie.
Yeah, they used to play Thanksgiving.
Remember they
too,
would put
so
it over
it's all
2
that,
nights
yeah.
on ABC or whatever?
hmm But by the logic of if it has Christmas in it, it's a Christmas
Yeah.
movie, then every Shane Black movie on the planet is a Christmas movie.
Hey,
And I don't think that's true.
Roots is a Christmas miniseries.
Really?
And I think A
Miracles,
Christmas
what it
Story
was.
is an Easter movie. So.
But in the
'Cause
spirit
there's a
of
bunny.
Christmas, I think
Gremlins
we
is a
need
Christmas
to-
movie.
Yeah.
Gremlins
It
is a
is.
Christmas.
Gremlins is a Christmas movie. But look, in the
Critters
spirit
isn't.
of Christmas, I think we need to all just like put aside our differences, come together on this issue, and just say, hey, man, live and let live. Whatever you think is a Christmas movie is your own personal headcanon, and that's fine. We can all
I
get
don't
along
like living in
because-
anarchy, Aaron.
I do.
like rule of law. I like order.
Fascist.
This is the military coming out in him.
Come on, man.
I
We gotta
like a
draw the line.
regimented schedule.
No
This is-
more.
This
Not
is the
one
reason
step
why I
further.
didn't
Harry
do it.
Potter movies. Harry
He's going
Potter
full
Christmas.
card on us. The line must be drawn here.
Exactly.
No further.
I will make them pay for what they've done. Guys, look, if Wes and I can still be friends, despite the fact that he does not think that Gremlins 2 is superior to the first Gremlins, and
That's a
I
ridiculous
do,
take.
if we can still come together and break bread over the holidays, then certainly you guys can do it too.
I
Wait,
was
Wes
so
is coming
excited
to
for
your
Gremlins
house?
too, because you had Mowgli as basically Rambo. You had a bat
Mhm.
gremlin. You had a girl gremlin. You had all these different weird things. Electricity gremlin, and the movie just does not come together, Aaron.
I think it does because it's a Looney Tunes cartoon.
Yes. Ooh.
I mean, look, is it ridiculous that like
Wait, hold on.
that Gremlin is giving another Gremlin a tattoo of the Warner Brothers logo? Yes. Is it ridiculous that the Bat Gremlin flies through the wall and leaves a perfect bat symbol in the wall? Yes, it's ridiculous, but it's supposed to be. It's basically taking the Gremlins from being a joke in the first movie because remember that whole bar scene sets up the whole second movie. There is that whole ridiculous bar scene where they're making cartoon noises and they're bonking each other on the head with
They're
hammers.
singing carols and drinking beer. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that scene, that's basically just the whole second movie. Is like that's what Joe Dante enjoyed. That's what got him.
It might
to
be the
come
worst
back.
part of the first movie. It didn't make sense. It made
I
the
think there's
gremlins not seem dangerous.
Well, yeah, it made them a joke, and then in the second movie, they're part of the joke. Come on, Hulk Hogan shows up to threaten the Gremlins. Wes, I know you liked that. I know you were saying your prayers and eating your vitamins and tearing your shirt in the theater when you saw that.
No holds,
Yeah, I mean,
no holds
Holds
barred
barred.
is a Christmas movie.
No Holds Barred is a great movie. A movie of perseverance. It's up there with like Bloodsport, you know?
Over the top.
Bloodsport is a Christmas movie.
Yep.
Yeah, Over the Top is a
Over the top. Oh man, now, you know what I love about Over the Top? In the words of Norm Macdonald, it combines all of the drama of a child custody hearing with arm wrestling.
And they remade it with that robot.
Yeah.
Real Steel.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's just Rock'em Sock'em Robots, the movie.
Yeah, no, I like Hasbro
That
should have
is
been like,
that is Over the Top, but with robots.
yeah.
Look,
Except
it
they didn't
works.
play Winner
Nobody
Takes It
turns
All,
their
which
hat
is
backwards,
disappointing.
though.
Winner
Yeah,
Takes It All.
I wish they
And it
still
has
made
Terry Funk.
music for movies. You know what I mean?
Look,
When you had a great
Pokemon
song like
Pokemon is a
Ghostbusters.
Stallone movie. Because what does Ash do when he's ready to really throw down? He
Yeah.
turns his hat backwards.
his hat
Where did he
backwards.
get that? Sylvester Stallone and Over the Top, baby. It's a shared universe.
He's
You're
turning
calling
it
it out.
on. Snake from Albany says Wildstorm would have been better off if Jim Lee sold it to Marvel.
Yes.
It would have fit in better
Yep.
at the time.
They just would have Malibu'd it though.
Yeah.
So are you
Actually,
saying it would be
That would've
better
been
off
smart.
if it was just dead and never to be touched upon again, Doc?
well, to be honest,
Pretty much is.
compared to what DC's done, yes. As long as they didn't, I mean, they wouldn't have New 52'd it. I feel like they would have ran it like the Ultimates. They would have run it, at least for the first few years, like DC did. Allow it to maintain its autonomy. It's still its own company inside. Jim's now just working for
Let me
Marvel.
ask you a question, Doc.
Yeah.
How did DC not fuck Alan Moore one more time by reprinting those Wildcats?
Actually, they did do a trade paperback.
I don't remember that.
Oh, I have it.
Oh, you do? Well,
Yeah,
maybe you
I
can show
have
us
the
that.
trade paperback of it. Hold on, I'll see if
right.
I can find it.
I don't remember that. I mean, I remember the Wildstorm ones, but I don't remember them doing that one. But nonetheless.
But would Marvel be better off with Jim Lee as their EIC instead of CB Cebulski?
Oh, for
Because he would have
sure.
been there by now, right?
I don't remember who set. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say I don't think Jim ends up the EIC. I still think that a lot of the things, such as bringing in Event Comics and Joe Quesada, I think all that still happens. I think that there was already by the time DC owned it, there was a direct pipeline of talent from Wildstorm to Marvel, even though DC owned Wildstorm. So it would have just made that pipeline a little more direct.
Can I just ask a question here? What is the advantage, or what is the purpose of Marvel still holding those Malibu characters hostage? You're never going to do anything with them because Disney doesn't want to pay the royalties that are inherently built into those creator contracts. So you're never going to do anything with Sludge or Lord Pumpkin or Hardcase or the Ultra Force. You're never going to, or Prime. You're never going to do anything with any of those characters. So why not just give them back? Like, what is the point of just holding them when they're never going to make you another
Gerard
gun?
Jones.
Well, I mean, that's fair, but
I
That's
think
the reason why.
I think part of it might be that, but part of it's also going to be I don't know how easy it would be to untangle the character rights from all of the technology rights. That's the reason why they bought them.
yeah.
For coloring and all their pre-press technology that Malibu had already created. So I don't know if there's an easy way to untangle the character rights from that other IP, like the other intellectual property that came along with that sale in an easy way, and it's just not worth the time to bother for them.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. We do have a super chat from Nerd. He says, didn't the 90s cartoon explain Xavier can't walk because of his powers? When his powers got taken away in Badlands, he was able to walk again.
Anytime, I don't consider anything that happened in the cartoon canonical.
No, it's only canonical to the cartoon. And I think that was the explanation because they couldn't show him take a bullet to the back or have his spine snapped by the Master. They never got into any of that.
Or Lucifer crushing
Lucifer,
his legs.
that's right. Yeah, Lucifer crushing his legs. Master is Alpha Flight. I'm transposing those two characters.
Yeah, so it was their easy explanation out of it without doing all the backstory that happened in the comics, because they basically just did it greatest hits. Okay. So no, it doesn't. Maybe in the cartoon it explained it that way. That doesn't make it true.
Very nice. CJ Harrison says Null and his army would obliterate the Justice League. Is this correct, Eric?
I take the fifth. I was never into Null or the King in Black. I'm pretty ignorant about that stuff. But I'll say Justice League.
Jim, can Null and his army of symbiote gods or whatever take on the Justice League?
Well, no means sex in Sweden, so I say yes. I don't know. I mean, I think there's too many of them. I think they would obliterate the
Marvel Universe defeated Null by themselves, and the Justice League is certainly more powerful than the Avengers.
Are they? They let the Titans take over, so I don't know. Is
they
it
see
now
the responsibility
the
to the
depressed Justice League who doesn't do anything? I still say no in his army. I think that they would get destroyed.
I'm saying no. I'm saying no for multiple reasons. Number one, the Justice League are the heroes. They will find a way. Number two, Null and his symbiote army I thought were boring. And not very well conceived or interesting villains. And Null, the Justice League would never be obliterated by a character with such a boring design.
Well, there we go.
Well, the Upside Down Man was involved in defeating the Justice League. So.
David Wolf says Bruce Wayne is the disguise. Eric O'Sullivan, is that correct?
No. Bruce is there's one Bruce, and it's Bruce Wayne is performance, Batman is performance, but behind that all is that there's a Bruce there. And
so you're saying Bruce is the disguise?
I say that Bruce Wayne
Playboy that's part of Wayne Tech?
the billionaire playboy is it's that's pretty much
disguise.
performative, yes. And but no, Bruce Wayne is a more developed, robust. He's a scientist. He's a mechanic. He's an inventor. He's a great detective. I mean, there's a lot to that person. Our friend Bruce Wayne.
The pain that drives Batman is Bruce Wayne's pain. So
Yes.
Bruce Wayne is the man. Now there is a Bruce Wayne mask that he puts on to the public, and just as Matches Malone is a mask that he puts on as Bruce Wayne. But the core of who Batman is rooted in Bruce Wayne, his morality, his pain, everything that he carries with him. So,
But we only see Bruce Wayne in the cave talking to Alfred.
yes, very few people actually see Bruce Wayne. Even Nightwing and they don't often see the real Bruce Wayne.
So the public persona Bruce Wayne is also a disguise along with Batman.
Yeah, there's various disguises that he has.
Are we sure that he
personas
just doesn't
takes
have
on
multiple
people.
personalities?
He's multifaceted, man. He's complex.
What if Bruce Wayne was also the Joker? He was his greatest own enemy.
That'd be great.
Did you ever
It's
see
really
there's something that somebody did online where it's all of the villains have been hired by Alfred just to keep Bruce, his mission going, because otherwise he'll just completely fall apart. And it's like the big villain is Alfred. He's like, come on guys, there's all actors.
All right, you are a comic book shop owner. You have actually you swore off Batman for all of 2023, but you got to have an opinion on this. Who is the real character here?
I think stripped down, it's just Batman.
Batman
Batman is, yeah, exactly.
Consumed by vengeance.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's been times when he's like, "Oh, I really care about you going to college, Dick," or having those moments where he's just kind of like sitting in his chair after getting shot, and Alfred already sewed him up and stuff like that, kind of like the Batcave situation. And I mean, I'm sure he worries about things like a normal person in some ways, but ultimately it is the mission. It's going out at night and doing this stuff.
That's why Selena Kyle leaving him would never have broken his spirit.
It's ridiculous that they have a relationship. I mean, I don't know why the need to marry off superheroes or not marry them off is such a big deal. But just give me some action. That's all I really care about. I mean, these are like the fun little things that we talk about, but
well, then you should like Green Lantern right now because he's down at the docks trolling for action.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's the kind of action I'm looking for, baby.
Who is the real Alan Scott? Is he the whoremonger? Is he the
Oh my
the
gosh.
guy that's got
No,
Catholic
he's the
guilt?
guy that pretended he was straight for 70 years.
Oh, that's all.
The real Alan
Uh,
Scott premiered back in 1940, not in Doomsday Clock number 7.
Exactly.
Tommy Reviews says, Aaron, who do you think is the next HasLab for Transformers? I'm still hoping Image will work a deal with Marvel for some Marvel Transformers omnibuses.
Oh man, I am not sure. Well, first of all, I don't think that
They don't need to
Image.
worry
Well,
about Marvel.
I don't think they need permission, but there are some issues with like Spider-Man appearing in like issue 3 and things like that.
Yeah.
I think that probably have to be worked out, or maybe not. Maybe that's just part and parcel of the contract. I'm not sure. I haven't been involved with the properties on that level. As far as the HasLab goes, they've been doing some deep cuts. Like I did not know who Victory Saber was when they did it, so I think that they'll probably keep going
Fake
along
Meat Boy.
those. Well, no, I have not
It's a
read
lot of
every single
Transformers.
iteration of the Transformers. I've not watched every single cartoon. I'm a Gen 1 guy. I wasn't even really I wasn't that into Beast Wars either. I've since gone back and watched it and learned about it. But at the time, Beast Wars was hitting around a time that I was, I had discovered girls, so I was trying to be cool.
Who's that dude that wrote almost every Transformers?
Simon
What's
Furman.
that guy's? Yeah, Furman. That's the one. If
You
Simon
don't have
Furman's
one
name
that you
on it,
wish
I'm
would
not
come
there.
out that you haven't seen that would be great?
I mean, they did Unicron, and I missed that one because I was just like, I just
a lot of
could
money.
not. Yeah, well, it's a lot of money now, and they re-released it like right before Christmas.
They
HasLab
should do a
dumped bunch of
life-size
stuff.
Constructicon,
I would definitely be in for like a full-size Devastator that goes
Yeah.
with where everybody is like leader class size and forms Devastator. If they did,
Be as tall as you. Be awesome.
you know what I actually almost did once is I almost bought a lot of Tonka trucks, the old school metal ones, to cut apart and build my own Devastator out of out of the Tonka parts, and then I was just like, this is going to be way more work and room. It's going to take up way more room than I I can really devote to it, and so I abandoned that plan. But yeah, that'd be crazy cool.
Very nice. Deadly Nightshade says Darkseid would make Thanos' bitch in a matter of seconds.
Yes.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
By the way, if
Thanos.
you've never read it, John Byrne did a great Silver Surfer Galactus versus Darkseid comic years ago, and I highly recommend it.
Doc, do you have any opinions?
twisted
Doc,
thing.
you're the Marvel guy.
Not particularly. I think Darkseid would probably smack the shit out of him, but yeah. I
There we
mean,
go.
I
thought
don't.
no meat on that bone. Sean Christopher says Rob Liefeld is the most influential comic book artist of the last 30 years.
You know what? I gotta say no. I think Jim or Mark Silvestri are still more influential, not because of their body of work necessarily, but because of the total number of proteges that they ended up bringing into the industry that were game-changing level. A lot of Robs either have moved on to other industries or aren't really doing active work these days.
But did Jim
well,
Lee
they're not
ever make
emulating
chicken
him.
salad out of chicken shit the way that Rob Liefeld did? He would take dead properties and turn them into $1 million sellers.
I don't think New Mutants was a dead property. I completely disagree that
Pretty
was a
much
bad
dead.
book before he came on. I mean, it was more successful when he came on because at the time he had a very dynamic, very different style that people got into before they kind of started to see the flaws. And I was definitely one of them. Like I was super into when he came on to New Mutants. But if you asked me even back then, who would I rather see drawing New Mutants, him or Brett Blevins? I would have stuck with Brett Blevins. I just loved Blevins' work, and he was being inked by Terry Austin at the time, and I thought it was great. Rob, definitely, you can't take anything away from Rob. Like he definitely had a huge impact on the industry. He was hugely influential. You could make a case that he's the last guy to create a bunch of characters that went on to be big deals in the Marvel universe. But as far as the most influential comic artist, I would say no, because you don't see a lot of people aping his style these days. And you do see people still trying to be, still influenced by Jim Lee, still influenced by Mark Silvestri.
I want to jump in on this one.
Stuart Eminem.
I used to say, like, since Wolverine, Cable is Marvel's most important character, but I'll amend this for this we'll say Deadpool also. Marvel doesn't have a new character that's more important than Cable or Deadpool to their universe or sales and stuff like that. Rob Liefeld created them, but those aren't the characters that we like.
Yeah, most of the things that people like about Deadpool, I credit to Joe Kelly.
Yeah, Joe Kelly, McGinnis.
Well, the look of Deadpool is also quite striking.
Well, yeah.
It looks
Spider-Man very much like Terminator and Captain America and Spider-Man.
Deathstroke with red and black instead of orange and black.
Oh, I said Terminator. I mean Deathstroke. Yeah.
Oh, you Deathstroke the Terminator. You were still.
I was.
Because you were old school.
No one calls him the
remember when he was
Terminator
called
anymore.
Because he got cool enough on his own.
I think he's very important for comics.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going like Doc says, I don't think he influenced anybody art-wise worth a shit.
Well, I mean, Stephen Platt was a big deal.
Stephen Platt, I don't even know who that is anymore. Wake me when
Was
he does
he in
Michaels.
Lake Placid? Wasn't he in that movie?
Wake me when he gets done with like a
That's Oliver Platt West.
Oh, I thought I was in there.
But Merritt Michaels, but he's mostly doing stuff outside of comics.
I'm never gonna say Merritt Michaels was worth anything. I'll fight to the death.
Trash
on that
and
one.
Drew is artist.
Drew's artist. He loves Merritt Michaels, and I mean, you go for it. That's fine. But like seriously, you go read Extreme books and tell me which one you like the most.
All right, so it's got a little intense there for a moment.
Brigade, Bloodstone, Bloodstrike,
blood, something
bloody blood.
Blood something, blood.
You know what though? I
goodness.
wish that Rob still owned the rights to Youngblood, because I would love to see Youngblood relaunched with. Well, you know what? I would write Youngblood. How about that?
It's had a few times where there's been good people working on it.
Well,
and
remember not too long ago, they did basically republished all the original art, but Joe Casey rescripted everything.
it's in my other
Ooh,
room.
I did not
Very
see
nice.
that.
Aaron,
It was
Tommy Review
5
says
years ago.
Hasbro said they aren't doing Japanese G1 again, but something for their 40th anniversary. Also, Toho is allowing Marvel to make a Godzilla omnibus.
Ooh.
How many stories are going to have to remove from that omnibus for modern day sensibilities? That's my big question. That's an insta buy for me. I can't wait for that omnibus, but I'm waiting to hear what kind of tomfoolery they get up to, because as you guys know, they pulled a couple of stories out of the Predator omnibus because of just modern sensibilities. That story took place
had
during World
Nazis
War
in
II. That story
But
took
Dark
place during the
Horse
Civil
put
War.
those out, so maybe they care more about that. These are Marvel; they were already okay.
Maybe.
Like I just
hope they don't
bought
take
a-
anything out.
Well, I just bought a Wonder Woman facsimile #1 from 1942. Great comic, $6.99, but it's chock full of antediluvian, bad depictions of say Asian people. It's all over this book, but still, it got reprinted in its original kind of glory. So
Very
Just
nice.
smaller.
Hey, Yul.
Yeah.
Yul. Hey, so to answer from before about the
Oh, come on.
Alan Moore
We're doing 2 hours.
Wildcats. Hold on, the Alan Moore Wildcats thing. They did
Uh-huh.
the Homecoming and Gang War trade paperbacks that came out right around the time that they bought that DC
I do
bought
remember
them.
those.
But
yeah.
they also did an Alan Moore's Complete Wildcats trade back in 2007.
All right, you got me. I couldn't remember.
Very good. MH hashtag Comics Invictus. The best hero comic, Korean manhwa, Superhuman era over the Overman, even has the names that Dakin like White Cap, Pearl, Kilorov, Sid, Inhuman, Superman writers should take note.
You guys wanna read a
barely
good
understood
manhwa?
a third of that.
The best superhero comic, which is a Korean manhwa called Superhuman era over the Overman, and he's saying that's the best superhero comic out there. I have not read that one. Jim, you are the manhwa guy. What do you think about Superhuman era?
I don't know what that is. So yeah, I don't even know.
Jim, have you ever read a
no.
manhwa called Rebirth? That's
No,
about
no, I haven't.
Deshwatat the vampire.
No, I have not actually.
I actually worked on that at Tokyo Pop. So if
Really?
you guys can find old
I'll check
volumes
that
of
out, yeah.
Rebirth, you'll see some early Aaron
check
Sparrow
it out.
editorial, which includes a lot of dialogue.
Nice.
Does it have a lot of anti-Asian imagery and stuff in it?
What? No,
Oh.
it's a kick-ass vampire. You know, the funny thing is that the guy, the creator, was a big fan of Gone with the Wind. So one of the main badasses in the book is named Rhett Butler. And after a while, we would just call him Rhett. We wouldn't throw the Butler on because we were like, this is for American audiences. This is just gonna be too on the nose. But it was just one of those fun asides.
Censorship.
Very nice. So Jim,
That's
you
not
didn't
how
put
it
that one on the
was.
list. Superhuman era. You're missing out on the best superhero comic book.
I guess I am.
Very nice. The Garth Knight Rises Uberman. Hasbro should have the remaining G1 cast dubbed some of the Japanese shows since they're more in line with the Sunbow series.
I'd be down for that. I'm also always glad to see Garth Knight.
It's a good name.
Yeah, well, any reference to evil David Hasselhoff from Knight Rider. It's good stuff.
what was
Yeah, the truck,
name?
Goliath,
Yeah.
right?
Goliath. Yeah.
And it
Very
kind
nice.
of roared as it was driving down the street. Kind of roared it. Yeah.
And then I think later Garth Knight teamed up with Carr, which was the evil Kit. So
Oh.
I think they did that too, if I recall.
Oh.
Very nice. Dr. Ben says everybody should have stayed dead after Thanos snapped them in the comics and the movies.
Amen. Marvel's over altogether.
In fairness, the snap in the comics happened in issue 3 of the miniseries. So it wasn't like the end of the series and oh my god, how are we going to deal with these consequences? It was literally just a plot beat in the
It was literally
In the
just the end
series.
of George Perez on that series.
They all stayed died,
Which
for
I was
5
happy.
years?
I was happy about at the time.
Are you kidding me?
That's the
I was
craziest take I've ever heard, Derek.
I loved Ron Lim more than I loved George Perez at that point.
Wow. You really?
Yeah,
But if
you know
the-
what? The weird thing is, I've never been a super fan of. Like, I recognize the talent of George Perez. Just his female faces were never for me. Like they were always distracting to me. Yeah.
Huh. I mean, he had
But
the stiffness and a lack of mobility in his art almost till the end. Like his Avengers was pretty good. For that, for like good Marvel movement, but like his old Avengers and Teen Titans is very static looking characters that look pretty. I think.
Oh no,
All
I
right,
agree.
fellas, we
There.
are at the end of the show. That
That's fair.
if the Thanos snap stays in the movies, you don't get Spider-Man No Way Home, and that's the other good MCU movie.
Or Guardians 3, which is excellent.
Yeah, you do take out half the cast of Guardians, don't you? You lose Drax and Rocket, right?
And Drax, Rocket, Mantis,
Yeah.
Gamora's already dead at that point.
The Marvel universe must die so the new universe can live.
Well, the thing with the snap is it doesn't make any sense that it can't bring back people that weren't killed by the snap. Well, that's not. It's not this omnipotent thing.
You have to go back to earlier in time, apparently.
Yeah, it's just they just nerfed it so that because they couldn't bring some actors back or.
I like the idea of bringing everyone back and there being a hopeful ending to it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. This is
Remember when
last
Iron Man
debate-
got his head ripped off in the comic, in the Infinity Gauntlet comic?
We-
Like he gets his head torn clean off in that book.
Very nice. I remember what's her name? The blue one walking around insane with the Infinity Gauntlet when Thanos took a nap. Right?
But you know what? Let's just geek out for a minute. I love in that big fight with Thanos and all the heroes before he fights the cosmic beings, and they're all trying to take the gauntlet from him. When all of a sudden, like all the hellfire bursts up around him, and then Mephisto's like trying to pry the gauntlet off of him, and it's like in the most predictable betrayal ever, but it's still great.
This is a good book. Probably was not adaptable. This is our final debate. Jax the Atom can defeat anyone in the DC and Marvel universe. He can shrink to subatomic size and still punch like a 180-pound man.
Unfortunately, he's not cool.
You think the Thing would care?
I don't. He shrinks to subatomic size. I think Professor X could still take him out.
What about Unis the
Scarlet Witch could
Untouchable?
take him out? There's a lot
Doctor
of
Strange. Doctor Strange.
Can of
What
raid.
about
180
Namor?
pound. Yeah,
Can
Namor.
you go down
180
the
pound man.
ocean?
Yeah, just that impressive 180-pound man. He can punch
Punching
like
the
that,
punching the
really?
Hulk. Like, is that
But
really
it's
gonna
like
be a big deal?
it's an atom hitting you with the force of a 180-pound man.
You think the Hulk's gonna care about that?
Man, it's still a 180-pound man punch.
I don't think it would take out Superman.
It's like the running guy from The Tick. I'm as fast as 10 fast men.
Yeah.
I can punch with the force of a 180-pound man.
Do you know
I
what Fat Dog Mendoza is by any chance, Aaron?
I don't. What is that?
It's don't worry about it. We'll go on.
Sounds like, is it a
It's
beer?
microbrew in California.
It was a comic book that Dark Horse put out and it was by a guy named Scott Musgrove, and it was like in Deadline and shit like that. And they even did a British cartoon on it. But they have a character called the Whoosh, and he runs, and he has one leg that's shorter than the other, so he like runs in circles.
See, I love that. That's the kind of stuff that I want to do in Doomface. Like I want to have a character named Giant Midget who's just a regular size guy.
I like that. I'll buy it.
Very nice. I guess our debates are done. I do want to say thank you to everyone who ended up putting them out there. Doc and I, on the Q&A this week, we took a bunch of other questions that we weren't able to throw in here, and we answered those as well, and that's going to be on YouTube also on January 1st. So if you're looking for something on New Year's Day, talk about your time. Doc and I do that for about 2 hours, right, Doc? Oh, Doc's choking down heaters. Apparently he's not here. But it is time for the comic book recommendations. Aaron, are you recommending any comic books this week?
I have not. I've not been out of the house since Christmas, so I have not been to the comic book store. But everybody is telling me that I have to read Duke #1 by Joshua Williamson. Everybody is telling me that it's great. So, as a GI Joe fan, I'm really hopeful that I'm going to love it.
You are going to love it. It's got a really good concept behind it. I thought it was great.
I'm
Did anyone
into it.
else
You know, I love me some GI Joe.
Yeah, and it's got the Tom Riley art on it, so it's pretty darn good. MH Comics Invictus also says Superhuman Era, the era of Overman, damn fingers, only on iTunes and other free places, fast read, in color doc. Happy New Year all.
Okay.
Yeah, you gotta get a Webtoons account. I have one. Jim, do you have a Webtoons account?
No, I do not.
Well, you're gonna have to get one. You can go read this. You can also read the Further Adventures of Common America. They also have Webtoons for that as well. So thank you very much for the clarification. Really appreciate that one. Definitely have to check that out. Eric O'Sullivan, you were, I don't know, is that a grandiose adventure to finally make it to the channel? You have good streaming now. You have good audio, but now the show is over.
Now the show's over.
Eric effect.
You saved the best for last. You can look at it.
Yeah. Let's see
The
some
glass is half
positivity
full.
on the comics this week because it was a rough week outside of Duke.
There were a few good things out there that I bought. This is the ubiquitous brown paper bag that we get from our local comic book shop when we go to our local comic book shop and buy our funny books. So keep doing that and buy your supplies there too. You need bags, boards, and boxes, don't you? I know I did. I got Philip Kennedy Johnston's Swan Song here on Action Comics. Really good. He lands this story, lands it pretty well. It's fun. Speaking of fun and landing a story, we've got issue 4 of 4, Batman and Santa Claus, Silent Night, issue number 4. This is in continuity. This is fun. This is actually a secret.
It mentions night terrors.
Yeah, it does. It mentions night terrors. And this is a Justice League book in a world without the Justice League right now. So there's your Justice League book. It's really good. I got Local Man number 8, and I'm looking forward to the next like girls one shot of this too. Yule was so nice enough to he snagged me Local Man number 7, and that's in the mail to me, and that's going to be here by the 4th. So thank you, Yule, and thank you, Fantastic Comics, for keeping me in the funny books. But this is great. It's a flip book. It flips back to the image 30 years ago past, and it's just fun. Here's that Wonder Woman facsimile that I was telling you about. I will not show you any Golden Age Asian people. That's
don't get us demonetized.
Yeah, I mean, but this is a fun book. I ended up really enjoying the heck out of this. It's one of those 60-page facsimiles, $6.99, pretty good. And also keep an eye when you're at your local comic book shop. I got a 3-pack for $12 of the Raiders of the Lost Ark Marvel floppies from summer of 1981, including my favorite, the Columbia 10-speed Formula 10 racer banner ad. And
you guys may not know this, but Eric actually won that back in the day. He was the big winner of it.
Dude, it was Jim Shooter's kids. We all know it.
Came with a tracksuit.
Nobody won the bike. It was Jim Shooter's kids. It was all nice. It was a ruse. But thank you so much for having me on, Wes. I'm sorry I didn't get this problem ironed out until the end. It was my router was being finicky. And but thanks for having me on, and happy holidays. Happy New Year, everyone out there. Thank you so very much. And cheers.
Absolutely. And don't forget to go check out his YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed, there's a link in the video description. Now, mentioning Yule Carter, because he sent you a comic book, he's actually sending me, I believe, all the facsimile editions of Batman Year 1.
And
it should be Batman 428, the
that's
faux,
right, yeah.
faux simile.
I sent you the foil one. I hope you don't have a problem with that.
I hate foil covers. It's it's
it
the
was
thing
more expensive. I thought it had to be better.
No, I'm going to love them either way, and I do appreciate that, and that's absolutely amazing. Obviously, it's going through the Filipino postal system, so I might get it in 2 weeks, or it might be 2 months. We'll see what happens, but I definitely appreciate that, brother.
Yeah, man. Happy New Year. Thanks for having me on. I'm looking forward to 2024, and if you want to hear more about me, you can check out my Fantastic Comics channel.
Link in the
it's
video
like this,
description.
but just me. There's a lot of me doing stuff. I read Legion of Superheroes. I think this is number 22 from back in the day. And I just pulled these out because I wanted to show people what we were talking about with the Ultraverse. Here's Mutants versus Ultras, which I haven't read yet. And then Exiles number 2 has Juggernaut on it.
Yeah, when they started mixing the properties, that was crazy.
Yeah. So they're never going to collect that. So look for those if you can in the dollar bins, probably.
Actually, there is a trade of that too. It's
And that's
long
probably
out of
very good,
print.
All right, but here's something I'm not carrying at the store. I had to buy it from the person in his name's Matty Keene, and he does bootleg Spider-Man, and it's like a magazine, and it's kind of like moth food art, and it's like all sorts of weird stuff going on in it, you know, black and white. And there's also a number 2. This is on its 3rd printing, so they're not easy to get after the fact unless you want to spend a lot of money. And bootleg Spider-Man is my also. Oh, Spider-Man next week. Really good punching going on in it.
Have you checked out Fall of the House of X next week yet?
I've seen enough posts about it.
I got
looked through it
reader
and I'm like,
copy.
oh.
It's not good. Did you read
I hope you
Duco?
guys are excited for the finding out that the mutants are carbon negative.
Yeah.
Because that's what you read X-Men for.
Did you read Duke Yule?
No, I didn't yet.
Did you sell out?
I did sell out.
You
I
should have.
I ordered more, but not anything near my Transformers numbers, obviously. I upped it since G.I. Joe has been doing so well for me, and I was hoping that it would do
Real
well.
American Hero is good too.
Yeah, I mean, awesome art. I haven't read any of them, but just really good looking product. I'm really happy with what Kirkman's doing with this stuff. And the question is, how much do I care after DWJ is off?
Well, he's going to write the first 12 issues, but only illustrate the first 6. Is what I'm.
So the important thing is, who do they get to follow him on art?
It's going to be Juan Cabal, right? He's got some dating Warren Johnson in him.
It's just not exciting. It's not the
I'm
same.
with you.
You know, Juan Gedeon or something like that.
Yeah, Juan Gedeon. That's the guy I meant.
Yeah.
I didn't mean one.
No,
Yeah,
I
Juan
mean,
Gedeon.
that other guy's a guy too.
Yeah.
I mean, Kirkman usually has good people working for him. I haven't seen Samney do anything lately.
That would be
So there you
an
be a
interesting
guy.
choice. Yeah, so we shall see on that one. Jim from Weird Science, you didn't die at your son's wedding.
No.
But you did take a spinning back twist, and we do appreciate you taking one for the team.
For the team.
Do you have any comic books you're recommending? Because this is a very difficult week to find good comic books.
It is, and we talked about that on our show on your Patreon. But the idea, Action Comics and Duke, pretty much what everybody else said. Those are the 2 strong ones in my mind.
Couldn't agree more. You got anything else going on this week, Jim?
Not just reviews and stuff like that on the channel and the podcast.
Are you going to go to war with another creator?
Maybe. They go to war with me. I'm well.
You got to keep Sonny Gabe out of there.
Yeah,
because he'll start acquiescing.
That's true. I like to stand up for myself, unlike Sus Gabe. So I end up the fights get a little more brutal. Is what happens.
See, Josh would have come in and helped you, Jim, but he's already been blocked by Tim Sheridan.
Yeah. He could have. I could have used his help. It wasn't even anything that Tim Sheridan's a tool. He's just trying to get his name out there, and he's going to do any way he can. But he's just a prick to everybody. So.
Well, there
Joke's
you go.
on
Way
him.
to end it on a positive night,
there
Jim.
you go.
That's the Jim we miss.
He's a prick. He is.
All right, Doc, you were last. Once again, we are heading towards 2024. Are you going to recommend any comic books until before we get to this new year?
Yes, as a matter of fact. Hold on. All right. So, since I talked about it earlier, The Authority number 12, and in this issue, this is where Jenny Sparks electrocutes the brain of God. Well, not really God, but you know, their interpretation of God for this comic. And we even have, and then it gets to the New Year's, and I think there's
She dies, right? Because it's the millennium.
yeah, she dies, and there you go, baby.
She's
Jenny,
not Jenny Spark. She's
Jenny
Century.
Quantum,
Yeah, exactly.
because she's a Century baby.
Yeah.
So this is the end of 1999, even though technically the millennium doesn't happen until the end of 2000, but they make a joke about it's a consensus universe. So, yeah, but there we
Whatever
go.
happened at Sci Comic?
I have no idea. Then, just for you, Yule, I got a double dose this week.
What?
X-Men 1 and 2.
Wow.
Go Go find a back issue comics.
That's right.
These are pretty.
One
Are
five.
you
don't
ready
take
to
that
crack
out.
those slabs and let those comics get played with?
No, I'm
no.
not. Dear
Even
God.
with Vanisher's fine ensemble there.
Yes, I know, right? That's a look.
Why is Professor X standing? Oh,
Yeah.
Very nice.
So,
Good
but
to
yeah,
talk.
so these are
Nice.
my back issues because, of course, I'm not going to recommend new comics. So these are the ones I'm recommending for this week.
Do you really recommend X-Men 1 though?
Yes, I do.
All right.
I
Very
will
nice.
always recommend high-priced
I love
comics.
Kirby.
Cryogenic Gamer wants to know, has the Marvel's Ultimate line released yet? No. In January, Ultimate Spider-Man. February, Ultimate Black Panther. March, Ultimate X-Men. And those will be the first 3 books, and we certainly will get more. So
Can't
we
wait.
are still waiting on that one. And if it came out, I would have reviewed it already because I am definitely looking forward to Ultimate Spider-Man #1. It's just something I think is going to be good, and I still have hope for Mr. Hickman and the future Marvel Comics. I do want to say thank you very much to everyone for joining us. We had some technical difficulties, but we still love you, Eric, and we are looking
Thank you.
forward to 2024. Happy New Year's, everybody. I hope everyone had a fantastic Christmas and are enjoying the holidays with their families. And crab cakes, did you get crab cakes for Christmas? Eric?
Dunk them in mayo, dunk them in Worcestershire sauce, and a little bit
No,
of
what was
garlic.
the story? What did you do on Christmas? Because we had 5 different ideas based on.
Well,
the blurbs.
I ate like a hobbit. I ate, a
said
breakfast, second breakfast, a lunches, luncheon, afternoon
But
tea.
did you watch Lord
dinner,
of the
and
Rings
supper.
trilogy?
And I watched the entire Lord of the Rings
Told you.
extended cut trilogy with
I won.
the cast commentary, which is amazing. Like listen to the hobbits talk over each other. It's really
That's some
fun.
nerdy stuff.
You don't
really
think you don't
so
find
super
Sean Astin a little? He's kind of
Obnoxious.
cringy in that, don't
Kind
you?
of, but he's a kid actor. I mean, Billy Boyd makes up for him. Him and Dominic, they totally make like there's the Elijah and Sean have, and then there's Billy Boyd and Dominic Monaghan, and they're
Not
Pippin and
everybody can be
Mary
Keanu Reeves,
come through exactly.
Yeah. So, thank you very
Well,
much for
cool.
clarifying
Thank
that
you
one.
all.
I win because you did watch the trilogy, and I hope everyone has great holidays. We will see you in 2024.